pour faire un veau en or.
to create a golden calf.
Pensez bien.
Think.
Après 430 ans en esclavage,
After 400,
pensez.
think clearly, people of God.
Un peuple qui fait 430 ans
A nation that spent 430 years
en Égypte,
in Egypt.
on nous fait virer pour nous voir qui ça un esclave possédé.
Let's go back to see what a slave possessed.
L'homme esclave,
When you're a slave,
ou un maître.
you have a master.
Maître ça,
This master,
c'est lui décider
he's the one that decides
de la vie.
of your life.
Et lui gagne comme esclave
And he has you as slave
pour utiliser
to use you
pour faire travail.
to do his work.
Et on connaît esclave yo
And sometimes they will put the slave,
avec un pile travaux forcés.
give them a lot of work, a hard work.
M'bakache dou,
I'm not scared to tell you.
les enfants d'Israël spécialement,
The children of Israel especially,
malgré yo te dans esclavage,
even though they were slaves,
yo te gen force,
they were strong.
yo te gen énergie.
They were energized.
Pas ça pas empêcher femme yo pour faire pile petite.
That didn't stop the women to have a lot of kids,
Malgré yo te dans esclavage.
even though they were in slavery.
Les mettre là ouais ça,
When the master saw this,
yo peur.
they were scared.
Yo met yo dans plus travaux forcés
They
toujours.
gave them more hard work to do,
Pour yo pas gen force encore.
for them to not strong anymore.
Ou capable penser à chiffre là seulement.
You can only think about the number.
Ou capable qui ça peuple ça t'est devenu.
You could see what these people became
Après 430 ans
after 430 years
dans
in
esclavage.
slavery.
Peuple là t'est presque pas tant rien encore.
They were almost like nothing.
Et nous toujours disons comme ça,
And we always tell you,
c'est plus bon esclave
it's better a slave
on maître qu'a gagné,
a master can have
un esclave qui prend naissance dans main.
for a slave to be born in your hands.
Parce que premier monde qui est arrivé en Égypte yo,
Because the first people that got to Egypt,
après yo vinn grand pile l'âge,
after they became older,
yo mouri.
they died.
Mais yo te fait petit dans esclavage là.
But they had kids during slavery.
Petit ça ou te fait dans esclavage là,
These children that were born during slavery,
yo vinn grand.
they became older.
Qu'on y a yo esclave tout.
Now they still slaves.
Mais yo même là yo grandi,
But then when they grew up,
en pile nan yo,
a lot of them
oublié origine yo.
forgot their origin.
Yo oublié qui bon Dieu yo gagné.
They forgot about their God
Parce que yo vinn prendre naissance
because they were born
dans
during
esclavage.
slavery.
C'est pire esclave on met besoin.
This is the type of slave that a master wants.
Un esclave qui fait nan men.
A slave that was born out of
Ça
the
veut dire
hands.
c'est mettre là seulement qu'on est.
That means you only know your master.
C'est Égypte seulement qu'on
You
est.
only know Egypt.
C'est Dieu Égypte là seulement
You
qu'on
only
est.
know the gods of Egypt.
Oubliez que c'est
You
bon Dieu
forgot
Israël là que bon Dieu.
that is the God of Israel is your God.
Malgré ça,
Although,
ou pas le mando,
you're going to ask yourself,
qui ça un esclave possédé?
what can a slave possess?
Qui l'argent un esclave
What
gagne?
money can a slave possess?
Malgré 430 ans,
Because after 430
yo pas
years,
jamais payé yo.
they didn't pay them.
Yo bat yo.
They beat them up.
Yo fait en souffrir.
They made them suffer.
Yo pas bien manger.
They eat poorly.
Yo pas bien dormi.
They didn't sleep well.
Et yo travaille 24
And they
ans
work 24/7
dans mauvaises conditions.
in bad conditions.
Qui sont esclaves possédés?
What do a slave possess?
Qui bien un esclave gagne?
What can a slave
Qui
possess?
l'argent un esclave gagne?
What money can a slave
Qui
possess?
possibilité matérielle un esclave
What can
gagne?
possibly materialistic can a slave have?
Comment même?
How?
Peuple ça,
These people,
li
this
rive dans le
nation,
désert,
got into the desert
yo bâti un veau en or.
and they built a golden calf.
Ou pas qu'on comprenne toujours?
You still don't understand what I'm saying?
Yo pas seulement bâti un veau,
It's not only they built the calf,
mais en or.
but it was made of gold.
Ou ka imaginer qui quantité l'homme ou sont te
Can
sur
you
yo?
imagine the amount of gold they had in
Ou
them?
ka imaginer combien bijoux en or yo te sur
Can you
yo?
imagine how much gold they had in their possession?
Ou ka imaginer combien l'argent lorsque ça a été évalué?
Can you imagine how much this gold wealth was
Yo joue moyen.
for them to find the
Dans route
possibility
désert,
while they're in the desert
yo prend tout l'or ça
to
yo,
take all the
yo
gold?
fond yo
They melt them up
et yo font veau en or.
and they build a golden calf.
Et yo dit yo pral adorer.
And they said they're going to worship it.
Je dis
Today,
c'est ça qui toujours arrivé.
that is what always happens.
Les moun
When people
pas bien
don't really
générer bien bon Dieu.
take care of God's
Depuis
Good.
un monde pas bien générer bien bon Dieu,
if you don't take good care of God's good,
est-ce que vous pas bien manage bénédiction mon Dieu?
if you don't really manage God's blessing,
Ou à fond Veau D'Or avec.
you will build a golden calf with
Ou
it.
pas ouais qu'on y a ou vin idolâtre.
You're going to see that you become an adultery.
Je dis à me faire l'église qu'on est.
And today I want the church to understand.
Ou pas idolâtre seulement,
You're not only idolatry
l'on font un statut à adorer.
when you build a statue and then you're
Ou
worshiping
pas
it.
idolâtre seulement,
You're not only idolatry
l'on décide à adorer un pied bois.
when you decide to worship
Ou
a tree.
idolâtre,
You're an idolatry
le que
when
ou gen bagay,
you have possessions.
ou bay plus importance passer mon Dieu.
You give more importance than God.
Tout bagay,
Everything
ou bay plus valeur passer
that
mon
you
Dieu,
give more value than God,
li vin un idole pour.
it became an idol for
M'a
you.
dit ça
I'm
encore.
going to say this again.
Tout bagay,
All things that you
ou bay
possess, that you
priorité
give priority,
passer mon Dieu,
but before
li vin
God,
un idole pour.
it becomes an idol to you.
Tout bagay,
All
qui
things
se désire dans tête tout,
that are desired to
ou bay
mind,
plus valeur,
you give more
ou bay
value,
plus
you
importance
give more importance
passer mon Dieu,
than God.
mais nous li son idole
I tell
pour.
you, it's an idol to you.
Ou bay petit ou plus valeur passer mon
You
Dieu,
give your children more
Ils sont
priority
idoles
than
pour.
God, it's an idol for you.
ou bay kay ou plus valeur
You
passer
give
mon
your
Dieu,
house more value
li
than
vin un
God,
idole pour.
it's an idol for you.
Ou bay travail ou plus
You
valeur
give
passer
your
mon
work
Dieu,
more value than God,
li vin un idole
it's an
pour.
idol for you.
Ou bay machine ou
You
plus
give
valeur
your
passer
car
mon
more
Dieu,
values than God,
li vin un idole
it's an
pour.
idol for you.
Ou bay l'argent plus valeur passer mon Dieu,
You give money more value than God,
li vin un idole pour.
it's an idol for you.
Ça veut dire jodi hein,
That means today,
si n'a parlé de idolâtre,
if we're talking about
nous
idols,
gen doit peuple mon Dieu,
we could say that we
et
could be
puis nous
people of God
idolâtres.
and your
Ou
idolatry.
gen doit la caille mon Dieu,
You could be at the house of the
et pour
Lord
idolâtre.
and you're an idolatry.
Parce que dans pile bagaille dans la vie,
Because there's a lot of things in your
ou bay
life,
valeur passer mon
you give
Dieu.
more value than God.
C'est plus gros bagaille.
That is the biggest thing.
L'on pas bien gérer bien bon Dieu.
When you mismanage God's blessing.
Tout ça bon Dieu ba ou,
All things that God gave you,
li ba ou yo pour servir.
He gives them to you for you to
Tout
worship
ça bon
Him.
Dieu met à disposition,
Everything that God put in your
li ba ou yo pour
position,
servir.
He gives them to you for you to
Je
serve
dis à
Him.
m'vin dou comme ça.
And today I've come to tell you,
Si bon Dieu bon l'argent,
if God gave you money,
c'est pour servir.
it's for you to serve Him.
Li ba ba ou pour faire rien encore.
He didn't give it to you to do anything
C'est pour
else.
servir
It's to
seulement.
serve Him only.
Ou gars pas de comme ça.
I mean, you probably didn't
Tout
know this
l'argent mon
today.
Dieu ba ou,
All money that God gave
tout
you,
bien mon Dieu ba
all
ou,
goods that God gave
li
you,
ba ou yo
He gave them to
pour
you
servir.
to serve Him.
Première priorité,
The first priority,
bien mon Dieu ba ou,
the blessings of
c'est pour
God,
mettre yo
you have to put them
au service li.
at the service of the Lord.
En réalité,
In reality,
si le bon Dieu bon l'argent,
if when God gives you money,
le bon Dieu bon bien de la terre,
when God gives you the blessings of the
il te
earth,
ba ou yo pour prendre plaisir.
He gives them to you for you to
Li pas
enjoy
important.
them. It wouldn't be important.
Imaginez,
Imagine
bagay qui plus important
the things that are more
pour
important
nous continuer faire ça faire.
for us to continue doing the work.
Nous besoin santé,
We need health.
nous besoin oxygène.
We need oxygen.
Gon série de bagay.
There's a lot of things.
Le jour pas gagné yo.
The days you don't
Ou
you
pas
don't longer have
kachita là.
things, you won't be able to stay
Le
here.
jour pas gagné
The,
oxygène.
first, the only day you
Ou
don't have
mourir.
oxygen, you will die.
Le jour pas gagné
The
santé.
day you no longer have
Ou
health,
pas kachita là.
you can't stay here.
Tout bagay
All things
qui est indispensable.
that is
Tout bagay
indispensable
pour vivre
for you to live,
ou pas payer avec l'argent.
you don't pay them with money.
Tout bagay
All things
qui est indispensable
that are indispensable
pour vivre
for you to
ou
live,
pas payer l'argent pour
you
yo.
don't use money for them.
Dis-moi combien quoi pour payer pour
Tell
oxygène.
me how much money do you spend for
Dis-moi est-ce
oxygen?
que j'aime mon bord doit
Tell
paraître
me,
la
have you
caillou.
ever received a bill
Dis-moi
for
si j'aime
oxygen
mon
at your
enveloppe qui
house?
ouvert la
Tell me, have you
caillou.
ever received an envelope
Son
for
bill
oxygen
oxygène
bill?
Est-ce que j'aime recevoir un bill
Have you
oxygène?
ever received an oxygen bill?
Est-ce que j'aime recevoir un bill santé?
Have you ever received a bill
Il y a
for
des
your
bagailles
health?
bon Dieu ba ou yo.
There are things that God gave you.
Est-ce que j'aime payer la paix?
Have you paid for peace?
Est-ce qu'on paye pour la joie?
Do you pay for health? Do you
Ça
pay
yo
for
bon Dieu
joy?
ba ou yo.
These things God gave them to you.
Tout bagaille
All things
qui est indispensable
that are indispensable
pour moun vivre.
for someone to live,
Bon Dieu ba ou yo.
God gave them to you.
Li ba ou yo gratis.
He gave them to you freely.
Si gon bagaille moi mak bon Dieu,
If there's one thing I love about God,
c'est Jean mon Dieu fait bagaille yo.
it's the way God do things.
Ouais tout bagaille qui est indispensable.
You see, everything that are indispensable,
Bon Dieu pas jamais ba moun responsable.
God never give the people the responsibility
Tout
to take care of them.
bagaille qui est indispensable pour vivre.
All things that are indispensable for you to
Bon Dieu
live,
pas personne responsable yo.
God don't give anyone the responsibility
Bon
for
Dieu
them.
ka bon responsable manger.
He can give you responsibility for food.
Li ka bon responsable rad.
He can give you responsibility for clothes.
Li ka bon responsable caille.
He can give you the responsibility for house.
Li ka bon responsable l'argent.
He can make you responsible for money.
C'est ça que fait.
That is why
Tout ça l'homme responsable.
all things that people will take care of, that they're in charge of.
Gen moun ki joine,
There's some people that get some
gen moun ki pa joine.
and others don't.
L'homme responsable caille,
People are responsible for house.
gen moun ki gen caille,
There are people that have house.
gen moun gen plusieurs caille,
There are people that have many houses.
still gen moun nan la ria sans
And
caille.
there's still people that are in the street without house.
Gen moun ki responsable manger.
There are people that are responsible for
C'est yo ki
food.
la pou ba moun manger.
They are responsible to give food.
Gen moun ki gen manger,
There are people that have food.
jou ki ap jete.
Although they still throwing food away. They have so much.
Gen moun tou ki pa
And
manger.
there are people that can eat. They can find food to eat.
Yo responsable bagay pou moun met sou yo.
They are responsible for clothes for you to put on.
Gen moun ki gen pile.
There are people that have many clothes.
Yo pa même kon ki la pou mette
They
yo.
don't even know when to put them on.
Malgré ça gen moun k'ap marcher tout
Also,
tourner.
there are people that still walk around
Tout
naked.
ça
They have
l'homme
no
responsable.
money for clothes. Everything that people are responsible for.
Gen moun ki jwenn,
There are people that get some.
gen moun ki pa
There
jwenn.
are people that don't.
Mais bon Dieu tellement gen miséricorde.
But God is so merciful.
Lèl rive sou oxygène.
When it comes to oxygen,
Li di sa m'pa ba moun responsable.
he said that I will not let people manage it.
Comprendre bien Jean bon Dieu bon.
Understand how God is good.
Lèl rive sou oxygène.
When you get to oxygen,
On bagay nou besoin 24 heures de temps.
something that you actually need
Nap dormi,
24/7.
nap respire.
While you're sleeping, you need it.
Pas jamais gon moun ki prend break respire.
Having that one person that took break from
C'est
breathing,
seul bagay ou fait pendant ap dormi.
it's the only thing that you do while you're sleeping.
Ou still ap utiliser
You're
oxygène.
still using oxygen.
Ou pas manger l'eau ap dormi.
You don't eat when you're sleeping.
Ou pas habiller l'eau ap dormi.
You don't put clothes on when
Ou
you're
pas conduire
sleeping.
machine l'eau ap
You
dormi.
don't drive when you're
Ou
sleeping.
pas travailler l'eau ap
You
dormi.
don't work when you're sleeping.
Mais oxygène,
But oxygen,
tout ça fait.
everything that you're
Ou
doing,
besoin
you
oxygène.
need oxygen.
Non seulement besoin
Not
oxygène,
only you need oxygen,
ou besoin pour tête ou,
you need for yourself,
ou besoin pour madame ou,
you need for your wife,
ou besoin pour petit ou.
you need for your children.
M'pa ka ba petit moi oxygène.
I can't give my kids my
Si petit
oxygen.
moi pas gen
If
oxygène,
my kids don't have
m'pa ka ba l'oxygène
oxygen, I
bam
can't give them
nan.
mine.
M'pa ka séparer la
I
vo.
can't share it.
Chaque moun
Everyone
doit utiliser poumon pa yo
have to use their own lungs
pour râler
to
oxygène.
get oxygen.
Et ça que fait,
That is why
bon Dieu dit comme ça.
God
On
says
bagay important comme ça.
something that is so
M'pa pas
important.
l'État responsable.
I will not give it to the
M'pa
state
pas
to be
gouvernement
responsible for. I
responsable.
will not give it to the
Si
government.
m'pa yo responsable,
If I give it to them
y a
to manage,
stocké.
they will stack it
Y a
up.
mettre l'en dépôt.
They will put it in
Gen moun
storage.
k'ap gen oxygène
There will be
serré.
people that will have
Et gen moun k'ap
oxygen
mouri.
needs. There will be people dying from
Si
oxygen.
bon Dieu pas fait ça,
If God didn't do this,
m'pa la prendre souffle.
I would not be breathing.
M'pa la ka acheter.
I won't be able to buy it.
M'pa la ka payer.
I wouldn't be able to pay
Même
for it.
joindre m'pa la joindre ni.
I wouldn't even be able to
Parce
find
que le
it
droit est important.
because it's so important.
Mon Dieu son bon Dieu.
But God is a God.
Li kon ça l'a fait.
He knows what He's
Li
doing.
tellement kon ça c'est la vie.
He knows that because this is for
Li pa
life.
bay l'homme séparé.
He didn't give it for people to
C'est li mettel
separate.
dans l'air là.
He put it in the air.
Tout moun râler.
Everyone take
Ou
it.
mettre homeless râler.
You could be homeless,
Ou
take
mettre
it.
pauvre
You
râler.
could be poor,
Ou mettre
take
riche
it.
râler.
You could be rich,
Ou mettre
take
pas
it.
gen moun
You
râler.
may have people
Pas
you
gen
can
moun
take
ka
it.
bon mandat pour
There
ça.
will not be anybody
Pas gen moun
that
ka
can
faut
be
payer pour
for it.
ça.
There will be anybody that can
Râler
pay
là.
for it. Take
Pendant
it.
m'a parler là, ou
What I'm saying
râler
is,
là.
you also
Pendant m'a
breathing
parler là,
oxygen.
ou
What I'm
râler là.
talking
Ou
about, you are taking in
utiliser.
oxygen, you're
On
using
pas
it.
jamais
And you
stop
won't be able to
utiliser.
stop using oxygen.
C'est seul bagaille.
That is the one thing
Ou pas jamais prendre break.
you never took a break from.
Ou utiliser tout le temps.
You using it all the time,
24 sur 24.
24/7.
Ou imaginez,
Can you imagine
si tu as payé pour ça,
if you were paying for oxygen?
combien de billes ça t'a payé?
What's the amount of that bill would have been?
Combien de billes ça t'a payé?
Tell me, how much would that bill
En tant
be?
que papa,
As a father,
pour me payer oxygène pour moi,
for me to pay oxygen for myself,
pour me payer pour madame moi,
to pay for my wife,
pour me payer pour chaque petite moi.
to pay for my kids.
À qui l'argent me t'a payé?
With what money would I be able to
Parce que
pay for
chaque
it?
seconde,
Because every
yo
second,
besoin.
they need it.
Chaque minute,
Every minute,
yo besoin.
they need it.
Y a dormi,
They sleeping,
yo besoin.
they need it.
Yo levé,
They
yo
up,
besoin.
they need it.
Ou pas jamais stop servir
You
avec
never
elle.
stop using
Imaginons
oxygen.
bien aimé,
Can you
si mon
imagine
Dieu
if God
te mette bagaille ça
had put this
en bas mes gouvernements,
at the end of the
si mon
government,
Dieu
if God
te mette oxygène
had put
en bas
oxygen
mes l'État,
under the end of the
imaginons,
sea,
c'est
can you
Congrès
imagine it would be the Congress
qui t'a passé loi
that would give the law
pour pas mon
to
oxygène.
give people
M'pas besoin
oxygen.
d'où
I'm afraid
le
to
temps
tell you,
pour
when
t'a
the
joué
time
un
for
speaker,
us to get
nous
a
t'es qu'à
credit,
mourir.
we would have been dead already.
Ça veut dire
That means
tout ça bon Dieu ben nous
everything that God gave us
qui est important
that is important
pour la vie nous.
for our life,
Nous pas payer pour lui.
we don't pay for it.
Ce que ça veut dire je dis à me faut comprendre.
That means today I want you to understand
L'argent
money
pas en nécessité
is not a necessity
parce que c'est pas lui qui fait me vivre.
because that's not what make me live.
C'est pas lui qui fait me respirer.
That's not what make me breathe.
Combien de monde qui a mouru qu'on y a
How
là?
many people are dying right now?
Qui tombe bon l'argent
That are
là-bas.
leaving a lot of money behind.
Combien
A
de monde qui a trépassé qu'on
lot
y a
of people are
là?
dying right now.
Qui dit au docteur
That's telling a doctor,
mais l'argent.
I have money.
Mais l'argent.
I have money.
Même la vie.
Give me life.
Et puis docteur a dit pas de
And the
moyen.
pastor said, there's no way.
Je voulais venir du matin.
I want to tell you this morning,
Bon raison.
there's a reason
Bon Dieu bon l'argent.
that God gave you
Bon
money.
raison.
There's a reason
Bon Dieu bon bien.
that God gave you
Bon raison.
blessing. There's a
Bon Dieu
reason
bon caille.
that God gave
Bon
you house.
raison.
There's
Bon
a
Dieu bon
reason
machine.
God gave you
Bon
good
raison.
car.
Bon Dieu
There's
bon
a reason
travail.
God gave you
Bon
work.
raison.
There's
Bon
a
Dieu
reason
béni.
God bless
Bon
you.
raison.
There's a
Bon Dieu
reason.
béni.
There's a
Bon
reason God
raison.
bless you.
Bon Dieu
There's a
béni.
reason God
Bon
bless you.
raison.
There is a
Bon
reason
Dieu
God bless
béni.
you.
Bon Dieu pas béni pour faire intéressant.
God didn't bless you for you to be
Bon
live
Dieu
funny
pas
with it.
béni pour te prendre bénédiction, faire
God
tout non
didn't bless you
vaudor.
for you to build a golden calf.
Bon Dieu béni ou
God blessed you
pour servir.
for you to serve him.
Est-ce qu'on te connaît?
Did you know
Tout ça, bon Dieu, bah ou.
that everything God gave you,
Li ba ou pour royaume, non?
it gave you for his kingdom?
Est-ce qu'on te connaît?
Did you know
Tout l'argent
that all
fait.
the money that you
Tout
made,
l'argent travaille.
all the money that you
Est-ce
work
qu'on
for,
te connaît?
did you know
Bon Dieu, te ba
that
ou.
God gave this to you,
Opportunité ça.
the opportunity,
Pour
this
royaume
opportunity
ni.
for his
Pour
kingdom,
te capable marcher.
for you to work?
Est-ce qu'on te connaît ça?
Did you know this?
Est-ce qu'on te connaît?
Did you know
Pour
this?
qui raison?
The reason why
Bon Dieu, bon l'argent.
God gave you money.
Est-ce qu'on te connaît ça?
Did you know this?
Li ba ou.
He gave you
Bien la terre.
the blessing of the earth
Pour kingdom ni ka aller de là.
for his kingdom to go forward.
Comprenez bien l'église.
Understand clearly, church.
Apprendre
Understand, learn
qui gens
how
pour administrer
to administer
bénédiction bon Dieu.
the blessings of God.
Peuple Israël,
The people of Israel,
yo un grand pile.
they're very hypocrite.
C'est ça que fait dans le chapitre 32 Exode,
That is why in Exodus chapter 32,
Bible a relé on peuple au courette. On
the
peuple
people
courette.
call them stiff-necked.
Yes, parce que son peuple tout ça bon Dieu fait.
It's because they are people that no matter what God did,
Yo toujours viré bagay là on l'autre gens.
they always turn it around.
Je gade dans la vie nous même gens tout.
There are times you could find in your life you're the same way.
Tout ça bon Dieu fait pour nous.
Everything that God do for
Nous
you,
pas jamais satisfait.
you're never satisfied.
Autant bon Dieu fait,
All the time God is doing,
plus loin d'aller.
and you still going forward.
Autant bon Dieu béni nous,
All the time God is blessing you,
moins nous servir.
you serve him less.
Autant bon Dieu ba nous
All
bien,
the time God gives you a blessing,
autant nous pas de valeur.
oh, you don't give him value.
Gen moun jodi a,
There are people today,
sous changer,
if you remembered
qui ont commencé.
how you started,
Sous changer,
if you remembered
jour avant yo,
the day before,
ou pas posséder rien.
you didn't have anything.
Sous changer,
If you remembered
qui ont arrivé aux
how you
États-Unis.
came to the United
Sous
States,
changer,
if you
Ou
remembered
te rete kay moun.
you were living at people's
Sous
house,
changer,
you remembered
déception prend.
how people mistreated
Sous
you.
changer.
If you remembered,
Ou pas c'est ou libre ou t'a demandé.
you were asking for
Sous
rides.
changer,
If you remembered,
ou pas gen bon rad pour te mettre.
you didn't have good clothes to put on.
Sous changer,
If you remembered,
ou pas gen adresse.
you didn't have an address.
Chaque jour ou un côté.
Every day you were a different place.
Sous changer ça.
If you remember this,
Ou après tout ça bon Dieu fait dans la vie.
you will see everything that God
Ou
has
même
done
qui
for
chita là.
you. You that is sitting here
Ou même qui
today,
aux États-Unis.
you that is in the United
Ou même qui
States,
gen kay.
you that have house,
Ou même qui gen mari.
you that have a
Ou
husband,
même qui gen madame.
you that have a wife,
Ou même qui gen
you
petite.
that have children,
Ou même qui conduit belle
that
machine.
driving
Ou
nice
même
car,
qui gen date pour aller en
you
vacances.
that have
Ou
days
même
to
qui
go
gen carnet
vacation,
banque.
you that have
Ou même, ou
bank
même,
card,
ou même qui gen
you
business.
that have
Ou
business,
même,
you,
ou tellement béni.
you still
Ou pas
blessed
comme ça pour faire
that you
encore.
don't know what else to do.
Ou même,
You
changer.
remembered
Koto sorti.
where you came from.
Le jour
The day
où commencer
that you start
administrer
to administer
bien bon Dieu mal,
the blessing of God wrongly,
ou à utiliser
you will use
bien bon Dieu
the blessing of
pour
God
bâtir un Veau d'Or.
to build a golden
Et ça
calf.
fait aujourd'hui,
That is why today
ou pas capable bon Dieu temps.
you can't give God your
Et ça
time.
fait aujourd'hui,
That is why
ou
today
pas arrêter dans pied bon Dieu.
you can't stay at the
C'est
feet of
ça fait
God.
aujourd'hui,
That is why
bon Dieu pas
today
capable le meilleur de
that God
vous-même.
can find
Parce
a
que
good
toi
you.
busy,
Because you're so
ou que
busy.
trois bagages qui est
You have too
important,
many things that
ou
are
que trois
important
bagages
for
qui
you.
est
You have
important,
too many
ou
things
que
that
trois
are
bagages
important
qui
to
est
you.
valeur,
You give
ou
more
que
things
trois
value.
bagages
You
qui
have
prend
too many things
première
that
place dans la vie.
first time in your life.
Ou que trois bagages
You are too busy. You have too many things
qui prend première place dans la vie.
that take first place in your life.
C'est ça qui arrive les enfants d'Israël.
That is what happened to the children of Israel.
Côté même, peuple la joine toute l'or ça yo.
Where did the people find all that gold?
Côté joine toute l'or ça yo.
Where did they get all that gold?
Esclavouté,
You were a slave.
ou fait sorti en esclavage.
You just came out of slavery.
C'est pas battre ou te battre mettre là.
It's not that you beat up your master.
C'est pas goût monter goût mettre là.
You didn't fight with your master.
C'est pas avec combat ou bien avec force ou te sorti
It's not by
d'esclavage.
your own might you came out of slavery.
Mais quand on joue toute l'or ça yo,
But where did you find all that gold?
juste pour qu'à fond veau en or.
For you to build a golden calf.
Pensez à ça.
Think about this.
Quand on esclave
Where can a slave
qui fait quitter master qui prend route pour la
that
caille.
just left slavery, left their master, where would they get all that gold from?
Quand elle joue tout bien ça yo.
Where did they get them from?
Qui côté?
Where?
Comment master a fait quitter aller avec tout bien ça yo.
How can your master let you go with all this gold?
Le nous lit
When we read
dans Exode chapitre 3.
in Exodus chapter 3 or 32?
Le nous dans Exode chapitre 3.
When we read Exodus chapter 3,
Le nous commencer dans verset 19 là.
when we start in verse 19,
Premièrement dans le même chapitre là,
in the
Bon
same
Dieu dit
chapter,
comme ça.
God said,
li ouais souffrance peuple là.
He saw the suffering of the people.
Il parle avec Moïse dans buisson ardente.
He spoke with Moses in a bush of flame.
OK? Il dit Moïse,
He said to Moses,
moi ouais souffrance peuple là.
I see the suffering of the
Après
people.
toute année ça yo.
After all these years,
Moi ouais ça Pharaon fait au passé.
I saw what Pharaoh's doing to them.
Moi descendre gonnier
Now I came down
pour me délivrer yo.
to deliver them.
Moi descendre gonnier
I came down
pour me délivrer yo.
to deliver them.
C'est même Jean bien-aimé.
It is the same way.
Je dis à tout.
Today,
Moi dis comme ça.
I'm telling you,
Bon Dieu ouais.
God sees
Li
you.
ouais souffrance yo.
He see your
Li
suffering.
ouais bataille yo.
He see your fight.
Li ouais humiliation
He
yo.
see your
Li
humiliation.
ouais tout ça passé dans
He
les
see
hommes.
everything that should
C'est
happen
même
to you.
Jean.
That is the same
Au
way.
bonjour.
Oh, the same day.
Bon Dieu descendre pour le délivrer.
God will come down
Il
for
va
you.
jamais oublier petit
He
li.
never forget his
Après
children.
430 ans,
After
il pas
430
oublié
years,
Israël.
he did not forget
Après
Israel.
430 ans,
After 430
il pas oublié
years, he
Israël.
didn't forget Israel.
Moi viens d'aujourd'hui
But I come to tell you
ou
today,
même,
you,
il pas oublié tout.
he has not forgotten
Il pas
about
oublié
you.
tout.
He has not
Il gon
forgotten
jour le
about
mettre
you.
pas.
There's a
Il
day
gon
for
l'elle
you.
mettre pas.
There's a time
La
you put
descend
aside
dans
that
problème
he will
moi,
come down to
la
your
descend
problem.
dans problème
He will
moi
come down
et
to
la
your problem,
délivrer.
and he will deliver you.
Le bon Dieu vient délivrer.
When God, after he's done
Le bon Dieu
delivering you,
descend pour même.
when he come down
Pas
for
de
you,
force sur la tête qui
there will be
bloqué.
no strength in the air that will hold you.
Jou bon Dieu descend.
The day that God comes
Pour
down
résoudre problème moi.
to fix your
Pas de
problem,
force qui a bloqué
there
là.
will be no
Pas de
strength
pouvoir
that will
qui a
stop him.
bloqué
There
là.
will be no power
Ça
to
bon
stop
Dieu
him.
serré pour
What
vous.
God has in
Personne
store
ne va
for you,
prendre.
no one can
Ça bon
take
Dieu
it.
réservé
What
pour
God
vous.
has in store
Personne ne
for
va
you, no one
prendre.
can take
Je dis
it.
à me le
Today I
dire.
come to tell
Souffrez
you.
avec courage.
Suffer with
Restez
courage.
tant bon Dieu.
Stay with
Moi
God.
d'où bon Dieu
I
ouais
tell you,
souffre sur
God
vous.
see your
Bon Dieu ouais
suffering.
souffre sur
God see
vous.
your suffering.
La descend
He will come down
pour le délivrer.
to deliver you.
Bon Dieu dit Moïse.
God tell Moses,
Moi souffrance peuple là.
I see the suffering of my
Je
people.
descends pour me délivrer.
I've come down to
Le
deliver
bon
them.
Dieu descend pour le délivrer.
When God comes down to
Pas que
deliver
Pharaon
you,
encore.
there was no more
Le bon Dieu
Pharaoh.
descend pour le
When God
délivrer.
comes down to deliver
Pas que
you,
Pharaon
there's no
encore.
more Pharaoh.
Le bon Dieu
When
descend
God
pour le
comes down to
délivrer.
deliver
Si
you,
Dieu Égypte pas
you
faire
will think
rien.
the little gods
Le
of
bon Dieu
Egypt can do
descend pour le
nothing. When God
délivrer.
comes down to deliver them,
Si Dieu Égypte pas faire
the
rien.
little gods of Egypt can't do
Je
nothing.
dis à me venir pour me dire.
Today I've come to tell you,
Si diable ça a persécuté
these
là.
little devils that are
Si loup-garou ça a
persecuting you,
persécuté
these
là.
little devils that are
Si
persecuting
méchant
you,
ça a
these
persécuté
witches
là.
that are persecuting
Yo pas
you,
même gradué même.
they haven't even been
Yo pas qu'à
graduated.
bloquer.
They can't block
Yo
you.
pas qu'à bloquer.
They can't block you.
Conseil de petits diables.
There's a little devils
Qui a persécuté.
that are persecuting
Yo pas
you.
même à l'école.
They haven't been in
Yo pas
school.
de degré.
They don't have
Mais yo
degrees.
pas qu'à bloquer mon
I'm telling
Dieu.
you, they cannot block God.
Jour mon diable descend
The day that God will come down
pour résoudre problème moi.
to fix your problem, to resolve your
Tout le
problem,
monde a saisi.
everyone will be in shock.
Tout le monde a saisi.
Everyone will be in shock.
Yo ne bagaille qui fait nous prendre patience.
One thing that will make me tell you to
C'est
be
parce que
patient
le bon Dieu c'est pas le
is
parole.
because God's time is not your time.
Bon Dieu dit comme ça.
God says,
On joue pour lui-même.
there's a day for me
C'est 1000 ans lié.
is 1,000 years.
1000 ans pour lui.
1,000 years for
C'est
him
un jour lié.
is a day.
Il y a des jours dans la vie
There's days in your life.
où on prend trop de temps.
You see it's too long. It's taking too long.
Où bon Dieu faut attendre trop.
You see God made you wait
Ou
too
sens
long.
pas arrêter
You
encore.
feel like you can no
Ou
longer
sens
wait.
pas attendre
You
encore.
feel like you no longer can
Et ma fin
wait.
d'aujourd'hui,
And I come to tell you
puis qu'on
today,
sauver.
don't be saved.
Puis qu'on sauver.
Don't run away.
Tant mon Dieu.
Wait for God.
C'est plus mauvais bagaille.
It is the worst thing to do
L'homme pas attendre mon Dieu.
when you can't wait for God.
T'es un prisonnier.
There was a prisoner
Yo t'es condamné pour 20 ans.
that he condemned for 20 years.
Pendant toutes 20 ans,
All this 20 years,
il était dans prison.
he stayed in prison.
Il souffrit.
He suffered.
Il prend force.
He took straight courage.
L'arrivée sur le dernier jour.
When you got to the last day,
Dernier jour qui a
the
complété 20 ans.
last day that would make it 20 years,
Toute réunion est en fait.
all meetings have already
Tout
happened.
avocat est entendu.
All the lawyers already
Demain matin
come to a
bonheur.
conclusion that tomorrow, the next day early,
Il a la gueule.
they will release him.
Il est libre
He's going to be
pour
free
entrer la caille.
to go home.
Et dans la nuit là,
And that night,
il est sauvé.
he freed himself. He ran away.
Il pas la gueule demain matin.
Tell you, tomorrow they're going to release him.
Dans la nuit là,
And the night,
il cherche une façon.
he created a way.
Il est sauvé.
He ran away.
Ça veut dire qu'il y a longtemps il a fait plan.
Now he had a long time he was planning this.
Et puis il est sauvé.
He ran away.
Il n'a pas la gueule demain si Dieu
They
veut.
were going to free him the next day.
Il est sauvé nuit avant.
He ran away the night before.
Devant pour lui,
Oh, bad for him.
il y a belle.
They caught him.
Il a 20 ans encore.
They gave him 20 more years.
Ça va le faire 40.
That's going to make it 40 years.
C'est ça qu'a pris volant pas attendre.
That is what's going to happen to you if you can't
Bon
wait
Dieu
for
va le
God.
délivrer
God's going to deliver you.
ou get un coup de volant.
And then you already went.
Bon
You
Dieu va
can't
l'ouvrir une
wait.
porte pour.
God's going to open it for you.
Satan get un ouvre l'autre.
And the devil already opened the door for
Bon
you.
Dieu va le bon passer.
God's going to make a way for
Satan
you.
get un vle bon passer
And
avant.
Satan already want to make you go
C'est ça que nous
forward.
dit.
That is what I want to tell
Tant bon
you.
Dieu.
Wait for God.
Si bon Dieu pas oublier les enfants d'Israël,
If God didn't forget about the people of
après
Israel
430 ans,
after 430
il pas
years,
oublier tout.
He cannot forget about you.
N'importe monde qui là matin,
Anybody that's here
qui a un
today
dossier devant mon Dieu,
that has a blame for
ne doit
God,
pas décourager.
I'm telling you, don't be
Qui te joue
discouraged.
devant mon Dieu.
Leave it in front of God.
Continuez avec patience.
Stay with patience.
Jour pour la écrit.
Your day is written down.
Jour pour la écrit.
Your day is written down.
Il y a des jours dans la vie.
There's days in life.
Ouais, bon Dieu pour descendre pour
You
vous.
see that God hasn't come down
C'est
for
pas mon
you.
Dieu le problème non.
It's not God that's the problem.
C'est vous pour
It's
comparer.
you because you're not ready.
Est-ce que tu entends ce que je
Do
dis?
you hear what I'm saying?
Il y a des jours dans la vie.
There are days in life.
Ouais, bon Dieu pour
You
descendre
see that God hasn't
pour le
come down
délivrer
for
dans
you
le
to
problème.
deliver you in your
C'est pas
problems.
bon Dieu le problème
It's
non.
not God that's the
C'est
problem.
vous pour
It's
comparer.
you. It's because
Bon
you're
Dieu a
not ready.
formé,
God is
la
forming
posténier,
you. He's
la
he's
préparé,
teaching you. He's
la
preparing
passer
you.
dans moule
He's
pour pas
preparing you.
commettre même erreur
So you should
encore.
not commit the
Pour pas
same
commettre
mistake
même erreur
again.
encore.
For you to
L'elle
not
fin
commit
délivrer
the
face
same
à
again.
pour
After
qu'on
you
gère
deliver,
délivrance,
it's time for you
pour
to
qu'on
take
gère
care of your deliverance,
bénédiction.
for you to take care of your blessing.
Quand pile monde,
There's a lot of people,
yo fait erreur, plus gros erreur dans la vie yo.
the biggest mistake in their life
Après au fin délivrer.
after the deliver.
Pas me dire encore pour.
Let me say this again.
Quand pile monde
There's a lot of people
qui font pile erreur dans la vie
that
yo.
commit a lot of mistakes in life
Après au fin délivrer.
after they've been delivered
Parce que yo pas paré pour ça.
because they were not ready for
C'est
that.
ça que fait grand pile monde.
That is why there's a lot of people
Qui t'a demandé bon Dieu au
that
travail.
were asking God for a
Qui t'a
job,
dit mon Dieu.
that were saying,
Sous
God,
mon job.
if you give me that
M'a
job,
servi ou.
I will serve
Sous
you.
mon job.
If you give me a
M'a
job,
gagné l'argent.
I will have
M'a
money.
payé dîme.
I will pay my
M'a payé
tithe.
first fruit.
I will pay my
M'a
first
payé
fruit.
offrande.
I will give
M'a payé
offering.
don.
I will
Bon mon
give
job mon Dieu.
give me a
Testem
job.
pour bon Dieu.
Test me, God.
Bon mon job.
Give me a
Bon mon
job.
travail.
Give me a word.
Pour est-ce m'a béni
To
l'église
see
là.
if I will not be
Bon mon
blessed
job
with
mon
God.
Dieu.
Give me God.
Pour
God, give me
depuis
word.
c'est bagaille
To
l'église a
see
besoin.
if that is
C'est pas moi
anything
qui
that the
parle
church
l'avant.
needs. I'll be the
Bon mon
first to
job
give
mon
it.
Dieu.
Give me a
Bon mon
job.
job.
Give me a job.
Bon Dieu tando.
And God heard you.
Yo ne bagaille ou pas connaît.
And one thing you don't understand,
Bon Dieu connaît.
God knows you
Plus ou connaît tout.
more than you know yourself.
Bon Dieu connaît tester nous.
God knows how to test us.
Li bon job là oui.
He really gives you the job.
Li bon job là oui.
He gives you the job.
Mon oublié ce te dit.
And you've forgotten what you said before.
Oublié toute parole ou te ba bon Dieu.
You forgot all the words you said to God.
En pile fois dans la vie,
A lot of time in life,
nous pensons nous coquins parce que bon Dieu.
we feel like we're better than God. We
Nous
could
plus
trick God.
intelligents parce que bon Dieu.
We feel like we're more intelligent than God.
Nous pensons nous qu'à jouer avec bon
We
Dieu.
feel like we can trick God.
Automatiquement mon Dieu bon job là.
Automatically that He gave you the job,
Toute bagaille vire tête en bas.
everything's going to go upside down.
C'est pas seulement comme baba non.
It's not only that you didn't give money.
C'est pas 10 mots baba seulement non.
It's not how you didn't not give
C'est
your
pas offrande
tithe.
baba seulement non.
Not only that you did not give your
C'est pas
offering.
first foot baba seulement
Not
non.
only that you give your
Même
first
l'église ou
fruit.
bagaille vient encore.
Right now you can no longer come to church.
Quand ou connaît anglais.
Now you know English.
Ou connaît I'm busy.
You know I'm busy.
I'm busy.
You know how to say I'm busy.
I have a work to do.
I have work to do.
I have a double job.
I have double work job.
M'a fait overtime. Ou connaît tout mot.
Yeah, I have to make overtime. You know everything to say.
Ou parle anglais pas force.
Now you speak English.
Quand you busy.
Now you busy.
Ou ranger bouche pour do busy.
You fix your lips
Ou pas même
fairly
même
to
ou
say I'm
busy.
busy.
Mais là bon Dieu tando busy.
But when God hear that you're busy,
Bon Dieu saisi.
God is in shock.
Bon Dieu tout même.
He said, you
Ou busy tout.
know how to be busy?
Ou même qui 24 heures c'est pour 40 heures de
You
vous.
it's like 24 hours was 40 hours for
Tellement
you
pas de gagner pour de faire.
because you didn't have anything to do.
Donc t'es free.
You were free. You
Tout
were,
le monde sait où est après les.
people were calling you
Parce qu'on pas de gagner pour
because
faire.
you had nothing to do.
Ou qu'on y a busy.
Now you're busy.
Ou pas autre busy pour moi.
Aren't you ashamed to
Pour
be
moi
too busy for me?
busy.
Aren't you
J'ai
ashamed to be too
oui.
busy for me?
GG.
JJ.
Pour moi busy.
For me, you busy.
You're Jesus.
You're Jesus.
Ou pas honte.
Aren't you
Ou
ashamed
busy pour Jésus.
that you're busy for God?
Oh, sans honte.
Oh, you ashamed.
Là, là, il va vous dire, non?
When it's time for you to give your tithe,
Nous avons un téléphone.
I have my phone bill.
D'où Jésus,
You say, do Jesus.
l'autre mois.
Next month.
Tu peux un téléphone là toujours.
You say, let me pay for my phone.
Jésus connaît.
You say, Jesus, you
ce
understand.
téléphone, non?
You know I need my
Pour
phone
me relo.
to call you.
Si je n'ai pas de téléphone,
If I don't have a
je
phone,
ne peux pas relo.
I won't be able to call you.
Quand il y a un téléphone
Now
pour
you
reler Jésus.
need your
Ou
phone to call
Jésus
Jesus.
maille.
You give Jesus
Ou
word.
Jésus
You
maille.
speaking Jesus.
Bal maille.
You give him
Même d'où
word.
ils sont, mon Dieu,
I tell you, Jesus,
il va dormir.
He's not sleeping.
Li well.
He sees you.
M'dou li well.
I tell you, He sees
Pas
you.
oublier m'dou li
Don't
well.
forget, I tell you, He sees you.
Bon Dieu va peuple l'argent pour une raison.
God gave His people money for a
Il
reason.
t'a béni peuple Israël pour une raison.
He did bless the people of Israel for a reason.
Pas de bagaille.
Let me tell you something.
Bon Dieu pas jamais
God never
mandé un monde,
asked someone
un bagaille
a thing
s'il pas de baoul déjà.
if He didn't give it to you before.
Ba me dit ça pour encore.
Let me say this again.
Bon Dieu pas jamais
God never asked,
mandé
never asked
un
anyone
monde,
something,
un bagaille
something
pour le pas de baoul déjà.
For him not to give it to you before.
Bon Dieu pas doit demander l'argent
God cannot ask you for money
s'il pas de bon l'argent
if he
déjà.
didn't give you money already.
Bon Dieu pas doit bâtir un sanctuaire pour lui
God cannot ask you to build him an altar
s'il pas de bon l'argent.
if he didn't give you the money.
S'il pas de bon tout moyen
If he didn't
nécessaire.
give you all the material.
Bon Dieu pas Jean.
God never
Mandé ou
asked
pour faire un bagage.
to do something
S'il pas de en bénou.
that if he didn't already bless
Déjà.
you with it.
Raison,
The reason
le peuple s'est quitté l'Égypte.
when these nations was leaving Egypt,
Bon Dieu pas le prouver Israël
God was going to prove to Israel
que c'est bon Dieu toute la terre.
that he is the God of all the earth.
Bon Dieu pas le prouver Israël
He's going to prove to Israel
que c'est le roi des rois.
that he's the King of Kings.
Bon Dieu pas le prouver Israël.
God is going to prove to
Il a
Israel
pouvoir sur toutes les
that he
nations.
has power
Il
over
a
all
autorité
nations.
sur tout
He
roi.
has authority over all
Il commande
kings.
toute
He
bagaille.
command everything.
Tout pouvoir
All
non
the
mais.
powers is in his hands.
Ou même qui chita là.
You see you that is sitting here?
Les bon Dieu voulait bon passer.
When God want to make way for you,
Il a bloqué New York
he could block the New York City
juste pour le bon passer.
just to make way for you.
Bon Dieu a secoué pays ça.
God can shook this whole country.
Il vire le tête en bas.
He could put it upside down
Et puis ça avant la passer.
because he's going to make way for you.
Pas pour une fois la fait ça.
It's not going to be the first time he's doing this.
Avant peuple Israël quitter Égypte,
Even before the people of Israel left Egypt,
bon Dieu parla à Moïse.
God spoke to Moses.
Dans Exode chapitre 3,
In Exodus chapter 3,
le verset 19.
in verse 19,
Il dit comme ça.
he said to him,
Je sais que le roi d'Égypte ne vous laisserait point aller.
I know the king of Egypt will not let you go
Si ce n'est pas une main puissante,
unless compelled by a mighty hand.
j'étendrai ma main.
So I will stretch out my hand
Je frapperai l'Égypte de
and
toutes sortes de
strike
prodiges
Egypt with all the wonders
que je ferai au milieu d'elle.
that I will do in it.
Après quoi,
After that,
il vous laissera aller.
he will let you go.
Il dit dans le verset 21,
He said in verse 21,
je ferai même
and I will give
trouver grâce
these people
à ce peuple
favor
aux yeux des
in
Égyptiens.
the sight of the Egyptians.
Et quand vous partirez,
And when you go,
vous ne partirez point à vide.
you shall not go empty.
Quand vous partirez,
But when you leave,
vous ne partirez point à vide.
you shall not go empty.
Verset 22.
Verse 22.
Chaque femme
But each woman
demandera à sa voisine,
shall ask at her neighbor,
à celle qui demeure de sa
and
maison,
any woman who lives in
des
their
vases
house,
d'argent,
for silver,
des vases d'or,
for gold,
des vêtements
for clothing.
que vous mettrez sur vos
You
filles et vos
shall put
fils.
them on your son and your
Et
daughters.
vous dépouillez les Égyptiens.
So you shall plunder the Egyptians.
Vous dépouillez les Égyptiens.
You will plunder the Egyptians.
Gardons mon Dieu.
Look at a God.
Garde gosson mon Dieu.
Look at how big a God
Qui
is.
bat un esclave l'ordre
That he gave power
pour
to
le
slaves,
dépouiller master.
to plunder the
Gardons
people.
mon Dieu.
Look at a
Garde
God
gosson mon Dieu.
Look how big a
Qui
God
bat
is.
esclave la
that
l'ordre.
gave a slave
Dépouiller
the
maintenant.
power to
Dépouiller
plunder,
maintenant.
to
Pourquoi ça veut
plunder
dire
the
dépouiller?
Egyptians. Do you know what
Pourquoi ça
plunder
veut
is?
dire dépouiller?
Do you know what
Prends
plunder
tout
means?
ça,
Take everything that you want.
prends.
And
Yo
take
pas
more.
qu'à tabou.
They cannot
Prends.
stop you. Keep taking.
Dépouiller.
Plunder them.
Dans tête Moïse,
In Moses' head,
comment ça va le faire?
how can this happen?
Mais bon Dieu dit c'est avec mille, il va le
But
mettre
God
sur les
said
Égyptiens.
he's going to do this by putting his hands over the Egyptians.
Et puis il ne peut pas bouger.
And they won't be able to move.
Il faut que la foi, bien aimé.
There are things you have to have faith.
Esclave, vous voyez?
You are a slave.
Même si mon Dieu t'a dit la délivre,
Even if God said, I'm going to deliver you,
il t'attend l'inédit matin,
he will have to wait before 1 o'clock in the morning
les mettre l'abdomen,
when the master is sleeping
et puis il t'a fait sauver.
for him to make you free.
Il t'a fait passer en bas,
He'll make you to run away.
Peut-être les mettre la lever le matin, il t'a le pas.
Maybe when the master wake up the next day, he will notice that
Mais
you're
bon
not
Dieu pas
there.
comme ça.
But God is not like that.
Là, bon Dieu a délivré.
When God is delivering
C'est un
you,
grand jour.
it's
C'est
big
dans
way.
figure ennemi.
He has to do it in the face of your
C'est
enemy.
devant ennemi.
He has to do it in the face of
C'est
your
pour ennemi
enemy.
en camper.
Your enemy has
Pour
to
le voir
stand
passer.
to see you
Bon Dieu
pass.
pas qu'on fait bagarre en bataille.
God never do anything
Là, bon
in
Dieu a
hidden.
fait bagarre.
When God is doing
Il fait un
something,
grand jour.
he do it in big
C'est
ways.
peut-être ça.
But is that
Ou
why
sont Haïti.
you came from Haiti?
Ou pas venir là rien.
You didn't come here with
Ou pas
anything.
venir à terre.
You didn't come with
Ou pas venir à
you
machine.
didn't come with
Ou
car.
pas venir à
You
caille.
didn't bring with
Ou pas
house.
venir à job.
You didn't come with a word.
Ou pas
a
venir à
job.
belle rade.
You didn't come with
Mais bon Dieu
beautiful clothes.
permet.
But God
Ou
made a
dépouiller
way.
paysan.
Make you plunder
Ou
this
dépouiller
country.
paysan.
Make you plunder
Ou
this
get
country.
job.
You
Ou
have
get
work.
machine.
You have
Ou get
cars.
caille.
You have
Ou get
house.
petite.
You have
Ou get
kids.
tout bagaille.
You
Ou get
have everything.
bijoux.
You
Ou
have
get
jewelry.
bien.
You
Ou
have
get rad. Je sais pas raconter.
You have clothes so much that you can't count them.
Ou pas venir rien.
You didn't come with anything.
Quand il y a une clé.
Now you have keys.
Drive-wow.
Your driveway
Il y a plusieurs machines
has
parquées
many
là-dedans.
cars parked in it.
Et c'est pas n'importe machine.
It's not just any type of cars.
Pour me dire c'est pas Bogota.
For me to tell you, it's not.
C'est 4 personnes qui vont pousser le pour le prendre.
It's not a bad car that
Pas
it
gen moun
needs people
boutilier
to
ici.
push it.
Pas gen moun boutilier ici puis à la gauche dans monde.
There's the mountain over here for people
Ça
to
veut
leave
dire
at
ici
the bottom of the
start pour
mountain.
start.
That means here it has
Start
to
pour
start.
start.
It has to start.
Oui, pas gen pousser.
There's no pushing
Avec bon Dieu
cars.
pas pour Bogota.
There's no
Bon
bad
Dieu bon
cars.
machine en santé.
That God gave
Bon
you
bagay.
good car.
Le bon Dieu bon kay.
He gave when
Li
he
ba bon
giving
ti
you a
bout
house.
chambre kay.
He didn't give you a
Li
little
ba bon
corner
ti kay
house.
dans quartier populaire.
He didn't give you a
Bon
house
Dieu bon
in
kay côté moun
popularity
sérieux
street.
rete.
He gave you
Bon
house
Dieu bon
with
kay dans
people that
zone
are
moun devient
spiritual.
rete.
He gave you
Li bon
house
kay dans zone qui cher. Dans
he
zone
gave you house in
sérieux.
places that are
Et c'est pas ti
expensive.
bout kay.
It's not just tiny house.
C'est kay qui gen haut.
He gave you house with 2 floors.
Li gen dans mi-temps.
He has middle.
Li gen en bas.
It has basement.
Ou saute en bas.
You go from the basement.
Ou monter.
You go up.
Ou monter
And
toujours.
then you go to the second floor.
Et gen kay qui est plus haut toujours.
And in the house that
Chambre à
has 2
gauche,
corner. You have
chambre à droite.
rooms on the left
Chaque
and the
petit
right.
monde,
All
c'est my
kids,
room.
every kid has
Hey,
their
my
own
room,
room.
my
They
room.
call it my
Every
room,
children
my
say
bedroom.
my
All
room.
kids will
This
say,
is my room,
bedroom. This is
my room.
room.
Quand on est sorti, à pas de my room.
Where you came from, there was no my room.
Son chambre qui est pour 8 personnes.
It was a bedroom that was for 8 people.
On chambre qui est pour 8 personnes.
It was a bedroom for 8
Pied dans
people.
bouche, pied dans bouche, pied dans bouche,
You
pied
were
dans bouche,
sleeping
pied dans
on
bouche.
top of each other.
Longtemps, chaque monde qui était dormi,
Back in
ou
the
t'es
day,
un pied
people
dans bouche.
would sleep in the
Parce que
sleep.
c'est tête
The
paquet
way
de
you
nous, mais
used to sleep,
tête
it was
paquet.
up and
Ouais,
down.
pied dans bouche, pied dans
My
bouche.
feet will be
Et
at
puis,
my-
tu capable
by
de
your
tout
mouth.
petit, depuis
The
nous
bed-
bouger, nous sommes tombés.
The bed is so small. If I turn,
C'est ton
I
seul
will
petit
fall.
chambre.
It was only 1 bedroom.
Laisse-en de remettre, bon Dieu.
That time we loved God.
Laisse-en de prier.
That time we prayed.
Laisse-en de gêner.
That time we fast.
Laisse-en de fidèle, oui.
That time we were faithful.
Laisse-en de dans tout service.
That time we were in every
Laisse-en pas de
service.
l'argent,
At the time we didn't have money,
mais nous te remet bail.
but we loved
Nous pas de
giving.
gros corps,
We didn't have a lot of
nous
money,
te qu'on paye dîme.
but we used to pay our
Je
tithe.
dis, ah,
But today,
nous avons l'argent dans nous.
we have money in our
Nous ne pouvons pas
hands.
faire encore.
We can no
Nous
longer
faisons
do
Veau
that.
d'Or.
We
Nous
create a
bâtissons
golden
Veau d'Or.
calf. We
Nous
create a
faisons Veau
golden
d'Or
calf.
sans bâconner.
We create a golden
Même si
calf
vous ne pouvez pas
without
faire voir
knowing.
un or,
Even if
mon
you
frère
didn't do
quand
the
même.
golden calf and
Des
gold,
boissons
you did it
bagailles comme
anyway.
péché, fait
If
ça,
you
mon
see
Dieu,
there are
mandola.
things that are
Pour
stopping you
bon
from
l'autre
doing
Dieu.
what God wants you to do, you have other God.
Le peuple a quitté l'Égypte.
When the people was leaving Egypt,
Bon Dieu bénit.
God blessed them.
Bon Dieu dit, m'pas quitter aller comme ça.
God said, I will not let you go this
M'pas
way.
quitter aller les mains vides.
I will not let you go
Faut me
empty-handed.
bénir avant
I
aller.
will bless you.
Faut me bénir avant aller.
I have to bless you before you
Et
leave.
seul bon Dieu qui a fait ça.
Only God can do
Il
this.
va le bénir un esclave.
That's going to bless a
En bas
slave.
mes master.
And the hands of the master,
Il va le bénir.
he's going to bless him.
Il dit, l'or pour aller,
He said, when you're leaving,
on va paraître soumettre là.
you will show up in front of your master.
Sauf alors pour aller,
You leaving.
esclave ou
You're a slave.
un esclave qui met la main,
A slave that the master loves.
bon Dieu d'où comme ça.
God tells him,
Jou pour aller.
the day you're leaving,
Il dit al côté mettre là.
he said, go to your
Paraître
master.
devant.
Stand in front of your
S'il me
master.
aller.
Tell him I'm
Mais ça fait
leaving.
cadeau cause
Hey,
paraître
this is some
devant.
crazy business.
Paraître devant mettre
Go
là.
in front of your master.
S'il me aller.
Then tell him I'm leaving.
Elle va sauver nous là.
It's not that I'm running away.
Paraître devant mettre là.
Go in front of your master.
S'il me pour aller.
Tell him I'm leaving.
Bon Dieu dit mal mal
God
servir.
tell me leave so you can serve me.
Et puis il dit c'est pas suffisant non.
He said that's not enough.
Bon Dieu dit avant m'aller.
God said before you leave,
Pour me prendre tout ça me besoin dans mon.
I have to take everything from your hands.
Pour me prendre tout ça me besoin dans mon.
God said I have to take everything from you. I have to
Il dit
plunder
toute
you.
femme yo.
He said all the women,
Mandez yo.
ask them.
Des vases d'or.
Ask them for gold.
Des vases d'argent.
Ask them for silver.
Des vêtements.
For clothing.
Quand on va le côté vase en or,
Now you
sans
going
côté
to see.
l'autre type de
You
bijoux,
going to
sans
see how
nos
many
chaînes,
gold
bagailles
jewelry without
ramassées.
counting things that they-
Parce que
they picked a lot of
l'homme nous
things.
dépouillé,
When I
c'est
tell
bon
you
Dieu
blunder,
qui mettait main sous
It's
Égyptiens,
God that put his hand on the Egyptians.
il bloquait yo.
He blocked them.
Et comme t'as dit, il neutralisait
I'm
yo.
telling you, he neutralized
Yo
them.
campé comme ça.
They were standing
Il a
there.
gardé Israël.
They're looking at Israel.
Pillé yo.
That's plundering
Et puis yo
them.
pas qu'à dire
And
rien.
they can't say
C'est
anything.
comme t'as dit.
It's like I said,
Bon
tell
côté
you.
arrivé.
There's where they got.
Tout le temps Israël là.
While Israel
Yo
was
pas
there,
senti yo bien.
they
Yo
didn't
senti
feel
souffle yo pas le
comfortable.
couper.
They feel like they were
C'est
about to
aller
die.
pour aller.
They have
Yo
to leave.
délivré. Yo
Israel
quitté
actually
Israël
to feel
pillé
better.
yo.
They let
Yo pas
Israel
qu'à faire
plunder
rien.
them, and
Mais
they can't
ça
do
mon Dieu
nothing.
qu'a fait.
This is what God can do.
Je dis monsieur comprendre.
Today you need to understand
Kay ou était ya.
the house that you're living in.
C'est dans mon blanc mon Dieu prendre li baoul.
God took it from the hands of a white person and give it to
Tenez bien
you.
ça m'dou là.
Listen clearly.
Kay ou était
The
ya.
house that you're living
C'est
right
dans mon
now.
blanc mon Dieu prendre li
God took
baoul.
it from the hands of a white person
Machine
and
soit
gave it to
conduit
you.
ya.
The house, the
Son
car
blanc
that
qui
you're
met
driving.
li.
It was a
Mais mon Dieu dit
it was for a
pour
white
lier.
person. God
Et
said
ça
it's
fait
for
l'éternel
you.
te dit nous.
That is why God tells us.
Côté pied nous foulé.
Where you stand, you
Côté
put
pied
your
nous
feet.
foulé.
Where you put your
Côté
feet.
pied nous
Where
foulé.
you put your
Li
feet.
ba nous comme
He will give
héritage.
it to you as
Côté
heritage.
pied nous foulé.
Where you put
Li
your
ba
feet.
nous comme
He will give it
héritage.
to you as has heritage.
Jodi a,
And today,
moi témoin.
I'm testifying.
Bon Dieu m'en vivant.
My God is
Li
good.
pas menti.
He's alive. He didn't lie.
Toute sa bouche li dit.
Everything he said with
Mais
his
l'accompli
mouth.
yo. Ou son exemple jodi a. Ou son témoignage jodi a. Nous mêmes qui chita là, nous son exemple. Nous son témoignage.
Testimony.
Oh! Bon Dieu va quitter nous traîner.
God didn't let us drag.
Nous mener.
He let us walk.
Alléluia. Pas anglais pour lui. Yes. Oui. Bon Dieu pas quitter nous comme ça. Il
God
lève
didn't
nous.
leave us in any way.
Il
He
passe
raised us
avec
up.
nous.
He raised us up.
M'pa connaît. Gardez bien aimé.
I don't understand.
Well,
Beloved,
do
look
bagay
at
pour
me.
faire
I'm going
moi.
to tell you something to do for me.
Ou faire.
Are you going to do it?
Faut t'y camper.
Stand.
Faut t'y camper.
Stand.
Faut t'y camper.
Don't be shy.
Ou alors fin
Stand.
camper.
After you're done standing,
Déplacer Crason Shelbert. Crason Shelbert,
walk
dis-moi moi.
around and pose.
Yeah, dis-moi moi.
Walk around
Crason
and
Shelbert.
pose.
Regarde
Here,
Crason
look at
Border.
me.
Dis-moi moi.
Walk around and pose.
Même
Say,
moi.
look at me.
Crason Border.
Walk around
Dis
and
même
pose
petit
and
bon
say,
Dieu.
look at
Amen.
me.
Même merveille là.
Say, look
Mais
at
ça
me.
bon Dieu qu'a fait.
Look
Même
at
moi.
what God can do. Look
Yes,
at me.
Crason Border.
Pose and show them what God can
Crason
do.
Shelbert.
Pose
Yes.
and show them what God
Yeah,
can
même moi.
do. Say, look at me. Look at
Crason
me.
Shelbert.
Look at
Yes.
me. Look at
Crason
me.
Shelbert. Il y a des jours dans la vie,
Pose.
faut me
There are
poster,
days in your life
faut me
you need
Crason
to
Shelbert.
pose.
Bon Dieu fait trop dans la
That
vie.
God has done
M'baka
so much
marcher
for
tête
me.
en bas.
I cannot
M'baka
walk
marcher
my
figure
head
marée.
down. I can't walk
M'baka
around with
crier tout le
meaning.
temps.
I
Faut
can
me
cry all
Crason
the time.
Shelbert.
I
Pour me
have
dire
to
Seigneur,
pose.
même moi.
I have to
Même
show
moi.
him.
Même si
Here
on
I
fâché,
am.
même moi.
Even if
Même
you're
si on
mad,
jaloux,
look at
même
me.
moi. Et
If
moi,
you-
le fait
if-
carré
even
faire
if you're not
Shelbert.
happy,
Parce
say,
que
look
c'est
at
bon Dieu qui fait ça.
me. Because God did this.
Et pas pour crier, pour faire figure fenêtre.
Don't be sitting here
Yes, qu'il
crying.
est là, faut camper.
There are sometimes you have to
Ou Crason
stand.
Shelbert.
You have to pose.
Vous dites, mes chefs-d'œuvre là.
You have to say, look at
C'est
me.
l'Éternel qui a fait cela.
God did this.
Ça est bon Dieu fait.
You have to pose
Ça
and
t'ont
say, God
fâché.
did this.
Ça t'ont
Say,
fâché.
and you
Mais
mad,
Shelbert.
but look at me.
Ça t'ont vexé.
Then-
Mais
but look
brother.
at me.
Ou fait carré pour
You
brother.
only
Pour
getting
fâché
started.
net pour
You
nous.
only getting started. I'm gonna make you mad.
Yes. Bon Dieu fait.
God did.
M'bagé doit faire figure fenêtre.
I can't be sad.
C'est pour me content.
I have to be happy.
C'est pour qu'elle me content.
My heart has to be
Bon Dieu
happy.
fait pour ça.
God did
Que des
for
jours me
this.
lever.
There are days I get up.
M'bagé marcher n'importe qui genre.
I can't be
C'est
walking
pour
any type
Crason
of way.
Border.
I have to pose.
La fin habillée.
After I'm done
Faut me
dressing
camper
up,
devant
I
glace.
have to stand
Pour
in
me
front of the
ranger
mirror
comme.
and
Pour me
fix
dire Jésus mais
myself
sont fait.
and say, God,
Jésus
look
mais
what
sont
you've
fait.
done. And
C'est
say,
où fait
God,
ça.
look what you've
De
done.
manger
You
comme
did
bien.
this.
C'est
Let
où
me
fait
fix
ça.
myself.
Yes.
You
Là les
did
chevaux.
this.
Voyez que ça.
Fix your
Yes.
hair.
Yeah.
Fix your hair and say yes.
Yeah. Là
God,
les
you
chevaux.
did
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Fais
Fix
que
your
ça. Yeah.
hair.
Yeah. Faire au fâché.
You make them mad. Make
Yeah.
them mad.
C'est pour faire ça te fâcher juste
You
faire stroke.
have to make Satan mad till he gets a heart attack.
Tout le temps, tu vas faire stroke.
All the time
Ou pas faire
that
vous dire comme ça.
Satan has not get a
C'est
heart
pour le
attack,
fâcher.
you have to make God happy.
Là, on va passer, c'est pour le
You have to
camper.
make the devil mad.
Pour la crier.
You have to make the devil mad.
Parce que c'est pas ça le t'espérer.
Because that's not what he
Il devait avoir crié
had
tout le
hoped
temps.
for. He had a hope for you to
Uh-huh.
cry all the time.
Yo voulait faire nous comprendre.
They want us to
Nous
understand
c'est mon tête marée.
that you are people with
Nous pas camper sur
stomach
rien.
and you don't
C'est
know
mon
anything
Jésus
on
nous nous pas
things.
sous un.
You are people of God. You
M'a
have
tout ça.
nothing to
Fais
stand
belle la
for.
tête tout, fais belle la tête tout, fais belle la
I
tête
tell
tout.
you, make your
Fais
hair
belle la
look
tête tout,
nice.
fais belle la tête
Make your hair look
tout.
nice.
Allez sous pas.
Fix yourself.
Oh. Regardez. Pas chita,
Let me tell you.
la caillou.
Don't sit at home
Toute la journée.
all day
À bouillir 10 ripois.
and cooking rice and beans
Chicken.
and chicken.
Guy des jours.
There are days.
Levé.
Get up.
Pour madame.
Take your wife.
Pour petit tout.
Take your kids.
Rive dans restaurant.
Go to a restaurant
Chita.
and sit.
Et me compter sur nous.
And I'm counting on you.
C'est haïtien nous.
You are Haitian.
Nous intelligents.
You intelligent.
Même si nous pas nous menons,
Even if they give you a menu,
nous pas rien la donne.
you don't see anything in it.
Nous pas griot.
We didn't write them
Nous
down.
pas banane pesé.
We don't see.
Nous pas dire à
we
quoi
don't see
coller.
plant- we
Et
don't
puis
see
nous avons
rice and
problème pour
beans
nous choisir.
for you to have problems
Parce
to
que
pick.
menus pas de manger nous.
Because the menu
Nous
doesn't
comptons
have
sur
your
vous parce
type of
qu'on est
food.
intelligent.
You are
Ou c'est mon intelligent.
You are
Les repas
intelligent.
menus,
When they give you the menu,
ou les menus,
read
ou
the
ranger
menu.
quoi.
Fix yourself.
Et griot t'a cherché pas gain.
You were looking for grill, there's no
Et
grill.
banane pesé t'a cherché pas gain.
You were looking for plantain, there's no
Tu as pas t'a
plantain.
cherché pas gain.
You were looking for rice and
Son
beans,
bonne
there's no
bagaille
rice
qui
and
les
beans.
filets mignons.
They have stuff that calls filet mignon
On sait
and
des
things
bagages
like
pas
that.
connaît.
There are things that you don't
Peut-être
know.
quoi pas des sacs filets mignons
Now
dans
you're
les
asking, what is
Quoi
this?
pas de
What is
paquet
filet
causé.
mignon? You're asking them questions.
Même côté sous,
But I'm counting on
ou
you.
intelligent.
You're intelligent.
Ou c'est moun,
You are a tired
ou pas
person.
facile.
You know all the time.
Ou voyez sur le table là.
You're looking at the next table.
Ou bouche blanc bonne ça.
You see that the white person is eating
serveur
that
vient
food
koto.
and it looks good. When the servant comes to you,
ou dit bam ça.
even if you don't know what it is, say, I want that.
Manger ça à l'autre
I want
bois
what
pour
they're
tel pour moi.
eating. I want that.
Pas Pas de problème.
There's no problem.
Chita,
Sit down.
manger
Eat.
copieusement.
Eat.
Et l'on fini,
And after you're done,
bas blanc tape,
give them tape.
bal tape.
Tip them.
Là, on $10.
Give them a $10
On
tip.
$20.
A $20
Et puis
tip.
range corps.
And then fix yourself.
Mais Shelbert,
And then pose.
l'homme allait dire,
When you're leaving,
Haïti
say,
m'soti.
I came from Haiti.
Haïti m'soti.
I came from Haiti.
M'poste des boys ici.
I'm posing.
Bam boys ici.
I have a lot of things.
Let's
I
all you.
possess things in this country.
Enjoy, bien aimé.
Enjoy your life.
Enjoy, bien aimé.
Enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life au maximum. Enjoy.
Enjoy to the
Enjoy.
maximum.
Pas quitter rien. Moi,
Don't
nous
leave
servons, mon Dieu.
anything. I tell you, serve God.
Mon Dieu, pas de problème.
God has no problem
L'on jouit salba.
when you taking when you
Li di
using
sa
what He
nan
gives
parole
you.
li.
He said this in
Li
His
di
word.
salba ou yo.
He said what He gave you,
Li ba ou yo pour faire bien.
He gives you to do
Li ba ou yo
good.
pour bail.
He gives you to
Li ba ou yo
give.
pour bénir l'église
He
li.
give you to bless
Et puis
His
li ba ou yo
church.
pour
And He
jouir.
gives
Dans
them for
tout
you
ça, vous voulez
to
faire.
use them in everything that you
Li
want
ba ou
to do.
l'abondance.
He gives them to
Pour
you
faire de
abundantly,
largesse.
to give them abundantly, to do good.
C'est ça, mon Dieu, voulez.
That is what God
Il
wants.
ba ou le pour chita dans petit coin plein.
He don't want you to stay in the corner and complain.
M'abdou bagay.
I'm telling you something.
Ou ka mettre belle rad.
You could wear nice clothes.
Mettre belle rad.
Put nice clothes on.
Mettez belle rad sous.
Put nice clothes on.
Habille yo. Fais cheveux.
Dress up. Do your hair.
Servant bon Dieu.
You are a servant of God.
Semble avec bon Dieu.
Look like God.
Et si vous avez des gens à plein bas côté,
And if you hear people complaining next to you, don't listen to them.
ay business pa yo.
That's their business.
Dis autant de bénédiction pa.
Say, wait for their own
Qu'on
blessing.
y a bon Dieu passe avec.
Now that God blessed
Ou
me,
pas m'empêcher me jouir.
you will not
Donne
stop
jour
me
pas,
from
donne jour pas, donne jour
wait
pas.
for your day.
Bon Dieu gon plan pour chaque
That
monde.
God has a plan for
Je dis à la bon
everyone.
Dieu passe avec.
Today it was my
Qui
turn.
t'aime dress up?
Let me dress
L'aime
myself
pas
up.
guérade là.
When I didn't have clothes to
Ou pas
wear,
toi
you didn't see me.
L'aime te gon ti laver rete mette ya.
When
Ou
I
pas
had
toi.
clothes to use all the time, that one clothes, you didn't say anything to me.
Qu'on y a sou m'a changer.
Now if you said I'm changing,
Qui t'aime dégager.
let me change.
Ouais. Et sou pas vle me jouir,
If you don't want me to be happy,
c'est qu'on y a m'ba la bien.
now I'm going to dress up.
Et sou pas vle tan,
And if you don't want to wait,
ou a fait mauvais sang,
you're going to be mad.
ou a fait mauvais sang,
You're going to be mad.
jour qu'on soit tombé.
Oh, that you will
Et
die.
tout le temps a fait mauvais sang.
And all the time you're
C'est
being mad.
bénédiction pas encore bloqué.
That you're blocking your own blessing.
Et m'a dit ça je dis.
And I'm telling you this today.
Bénédiction mon Dieu ba ou.
Blessing that God gives you,
Pas jouer avec.
don't play with it.
Première raison,
The first reason why
bon Dieu ben nous,
God blessed you
c'est pour servir.
is for you to serve Him.
Tout reste bagay yo,
Everything else,
c'est lui qui te care.
you take care of
C'est
everything
lui qui prend
else.
soin.
He will
C'est
take
lui qui
care
lève
of
le
you.
matin.
He wakes you up in the
C'est lui
morning.
qui veille au abdomen.
He
C'est lui qui va
watch over
oxygène.
you when you're sleeping. He gives you
C'est lui qui
oxygen.
fait tout bagay vous.
He does everything for you.
Les enfants d'Israël,
The children of Israel,
ils ont quitté l'Égypte,
they left Egypt.
ils ont pris un route désert.
They went to the
C'est
desert.
ça mon Dieu indiqué.
That is what God told
Ils
them
ont
to
marché
do.
dans le désert.
They walking in the desert.
Mais bien aimé,
But beloved,
bon côté arrivé,
there's a place that they got.
dans Exode chapitre 25,
In Exodus chapter
bon Dieu
25,
dit Moïse,
God told Moses,
on peuple qui est dans le désert.
the people that are in the desert,
Pour bon Dieu laisser serviteur Moïse.
for God to call the servant of Moses
Pour dire, dis peuple là pour moi,
to say, tell the people,
pour bâtir un hôtel pour moi.
for them to build an altar for
Pour
me.
bâtir un sanctuaire pour moi.
They have to build sanctuary for
Non
me
en désert.
in the desert.
Esclave ou yé.
You are a slave.
Ou fait quitter la caille mettre
You
là.
just left your
Pour
master's
lui en
house.
mi-temps désert.
Now you're in the middle of the
Pour bon Dieu
desert.
dit Moïse,
For God to tell
dis
Moses,
peuple là,
tell the people,
bâtir un sanctuaire pour moi.
build a sanctuary for me.
Ouais peuple là,
You see the people?
peuple là pas plein.
They didn't complain.
Ou comprenez ça pas
Do
plein?
you know why they didn't complain?
Ils viennent comprendre
Because they come to
parce
understand.
qu'elle te un problème dans la tête.
Because they had a problem in their mind.
La demande tête li,
They asking themselves,
pour qui ça?
why
Bon Dieu fait me quitter l'Égypte
God made me leave Egypt
avec tout bien ça yo.
with all these good.
Et puis son désert la fait me traverser.
And then He's making me walk toward the
Pas
desert.
de McDonald's,
There's no
pas
McDonald's.
de Burger King,
There's no Burger King.
pas de hôtel,
There's no hotel.
pas de pied bois.
There's no
Mais qui
trees.
bon m'a dépensé comme ça?
But where am I going to
Ça
spend all
peut-être
this
mon Dieu
money?
même.
What is in
Qui
God's
problème mon
hand?
Dieu?
What is
Pour
God's
bon tout
problem?
bien ça.
For you to give me all this
Ou t'as fait me
blessing.
traverser en ville.
For you would
Pour
have to
t'aimer
make me
à
go to
l'hôtel
a
les
villa.
bouquets.
Where I
Pour
have to go
t'aimer
to a
à restaurant la
hotel. Where I will have to go to a
tout
restaurant.
l'argent ça.
You give me all
Tout
this
bien
money,
ça.
all
Ou
this
à faire me
blessing.
traverser
And then you're
au
making me go
désert.
to a
Pas
desert.
rien pour
And
m'acheter.
there's nothing
Pas
for me to
rien. Même un
buy.
petit pied bois
There's
pour me
nothing, there's
poser.
not even a tree for me to rest under.
Problème peuple là.
That is the people's problem.
Bon Dieu va le manger.
That God give them food.
Bon Dieu va le lumière.
God give them light.
Bon Dieu va le direction.
God give them
Dans
direction.
le désert, bon Dieu fait tout
In the
bagage.
desert, God did
Il
everything.
mange matin, midi, soir.
They eat morning and
Il
night.
tellement mangé.
They eat so much
Il viande doit ta gaspiller.
that there's
Bon
meat
Dieu
for
dit,
him
au pas
to
gaspiller.
waste. God told them, do
Quand
not
il y a
waste
problème
it.
yo,
Now their
ou ba
problem
manger,
is that you give me
ou
food,
ba boire,
you give me drink,
ou ba lumière,
you give me light,
ou guider,
you guided
et
me.
l'argent.
What, and then
Ça m'a
money,
fait
what
avec.
am I going to do with
C'est
it?
parce que bon Dieu te veut dire,
It's because God wanted to tell them
bien ça m'a yo.
the blessing that I've given you.
C'est parce que je connais.
It's because I know.
Je vais bâtir sanctuaire.
I was going to tell you to build me a
Je ne
sanctuary.
vais pas bâtir sanctuaire.
I could not ask you to build me a sanctuary
Non désert.
in the desert
Si je ne bénis avant.
if I didn't bless you before that.
Vous entendez bien?
Do you understand?
Bon Dieu t'en connaît.
God already knew
Je ne vais pas commander.
that I would not be able to
Pour
ask you
bâtir un sanctuaire
to
pour
build
moi.
me a sanctuary
Dans mi ton désert.
in the middle of the
Si
desert.
que
Eve,
pas de béni
I didn't bless
avant.
you before then.
C'est ça que fait.
That is why.
Les Moïse mandé peuple là pour le porter.
When Moses asked the people to bring,
Peuple a porté.
the people brought.
C'est la première fois.
That is the first time
On peuple a bail.
the people are giving.
Li bail.
They give.
Li bail.
They give.
Jusqu'à ce que Moïse
Only that Moses
rivon côté.
got to a place
Il dit peuple là comme ça.
when he told the people,
Il suffit.
that's enough.
Nous avons assez.
That's stop.
Nous
We
pas
have
besoin
enough.
encore.
We
Nous avons assez.
don't need any more.
Première fois mon bagage comme
It's
ça.
the first time
On
I saw
peuple
something
a
like
bail.
this.
Li
For
bail.
a
Jusqu'à ce
nation
que
to
dit
give.
qu'il y a assez.
They
Nous
give
avons
so
assez. Nous
much.
pas besoin
They
encore.
have to tell
Pourquoi
them
ça
to
fait ça?
stop. They
Peuple
have
a
enough.
changé.
It's
Peuple a
because people
changé.
remember.
Premièrement, délivrance
remembered the
son
first.
miracle.
Deliverance was a
Délivrance
miracle.
son miracle.
The deliverance was a
Bénédiction
miracle.
son
The blessing
miracle.
was a miracle.
Route là son miracle.
The
Manger
road
comme dans le
was a-
désert
was a
son
miracle.
miracle.
The food
L'eau
that
comme
you
dans le
gave me
désert
was a
son
miracle.
miracle.
The water
Lumière
you
comme dans le
gave me
désert
was a
son
miracle.
miracle.
The light you gave
Direction
me was
comme
a
dans le désert
miracle.
son
The
miracle.
guidance you gave me was a
Tout route
miracle.
désert c'est miracle.
All of this throughout the desert is a miracle.
Je dis, elle pas différent pour vous.
Today is not different for you.
Toute la vie son miracle.
Your life is a miracle.
Toute la vie son miracle.
All your life is a miracle.
Problème pour je dis,
Your problem today,
ou refuser bail.
you refuse to give
Parce qu'on a trop Veau D'Or qu'on a fait.
because you have too many calves you already built.
Vous comprenez? Parce que tout
Do you understand?
Veau D'Or ça qu'on a fait,
All these golden calves you already created,
c'est bien mon Dieu.
they are God's blessings.
C'est ça que les bon Dieu m'a dit,
That is why when God asks
ou
you,
dit, et mortgage moi.
you say, in my mortgage.
Les bon Dieu m'a dit,
When God asks you,
ou dit, les bill machine moi.
you say, what about my
Les
car
bon Dieu m'a
note?
dit,
When God asks you,
ou dit, les ceci et c'est là.
you say, what about this? What about that?
Ou quel man gagne, ou get trop
You have
responsabilité.
you have too many responsibilities.
Qu'on y est,
Now,
ou bail bon Dieu,
you giving to
ou
God.
plein,
You complaining.
ou gain problème.
You have you have problems.
Peuple a bâti Veau D'Or là, et il y a trois bagailles qui arrivent.
The people built the golden calf, and then three things happened to them.
Raison bâti Veau D'Or là, est parce qu'elle était
The
béni.
reason why they built the golden calf,
Il était grand pile là dans le désert, parce que ça pour le
they had a
faire.
lot of gold in their hand. They didn't know what to do with it.
Parce que ça pour le faire.
They didn't know what to do with it.
Et puis bon Dieu les Moïse sous maintenant.
And God called Moses up on the mountain.
Bon Dieu a parlé Moïse sous
And
cette la
God is
loi qu'il
talking
va
to
envoyer pour le peuple là.
Moses about the laws that he's going to give to the people.
Pendant Moïse sous maintenant avec bon Dieu,
While Moses is on the top of the mountain with God,
il fait pile temps.
he spent a lot of time up there.
C'est là dans la présence de bon Dieu,
Because when you're in the presence of God,
c'est là bon Dieu voulait le voir aller.
is when God wants to let you go, he'll let you go.
Moïse fait pile temps sous maintenant.
Moses spent a lot of time up
Il
there.
tellement fait temps sous maintenant,
He spent so much time up there
le peuple a commencé à plaindre.
that the people started complaining.
Le peuple a dit ah Moïse il est mort.
They said, oh, Moses is probably dead.
Parce que tout le temps ça le fait sous maintenant, il pas descendre, il
Because
est
he
mort.
spent so many time up there, he's still not down. He probably dead.
Quand il a commencé à chercher Aaron compte.
Now they start asking Aaron questions.
Il a dit Aaron bon Dieu, Moïse il est mort.
They were telling Aaron, Moses
Nous
must
besoin
be
l'autre
dead. We
Nous
need
besoin
someone
l'autre
else.
leader.
We need another,
Nous
another
besoin l'autre
guy to
pour
guide
parler
us.
avec nous.
We need someone else to talk to us.
Moïse il est mort, il pas descendre.
I think Moses is dead. He didn't come down.
Il est tombé à plein by
They
Aaron.
started complaining to Aaron.
Et puis Aaron dit ben
And then Aaron said to them,
portez moi tout ça nous gagne sous nous yo.
bring me everything that you have.
Tout l'or yo.
Bring me all your
Tout
gold.
zone yo, tout vase d'or voter au ban moi.
All the earrings. Bring them to me.
On va le fond yo.
I'm going to melt them.
Et puis m'a fond veau en or.
And I'm going to build a golden calf.
Et puis n'a adorer.
And then we'll worship it.
Si pas Moïse, n'a fond statue.
If there's no Moses, we'll build a statue.
Mon peuple, on Dieu vivant,
A living God.
retiré dans l'esclavage.
For people that are living God
Avec faute et Abraham étendu.
took them out of slavery after so much hard work.
Et puis peuple ça,
For these people
les rivons côté,
to get to a place
les voulaient font statue qu'on y a.
and wants to build a statue right now.
The cause of the idolatry. Cause idolatria.
The cause of their idolatry.
Nous venons dans Exode 32, 1 à 6.
We find it in Exodus chapter 32, verse
C'est
1 to
ça
6.
quoi le cause de vin idolâtre.
This is what's going to
Est-ce qu'on
cause
lit-
them to
est-ce qu'on
become
lit l'autre moment?
idolatries.
Est-ce qu'on lit l'autre bon bon Dieu?
Can you read? Exodus 32, verse 1 to 6.
Ouais, ça c'est cause là. Ça y est raison qui mettait dans sa ouïe.
This is the reason why they are what they are right now, the problem they are right now.
Nous va lire?
Now, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, The people assembled about Aaron and said to him, "Come, make us a God who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." Aaron said to them, and fashioned it with a graving tool and made it into a molten calf. And they said, "This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." Now, when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to the Lord." So the next day they rose early and offered burnt offering and brought peace offering. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose to play.
Anou entend nous là. Si
Let us stay here.
yo pas de get tout bail, est-ce que tu as pas fait?
If they didn't have all these gold, would they be able to do this?
Si yo pas de get tout l'os, est-ce que tu as pas fait?
If they didn't have all that gold, would they be able to do this?
C'est même bagarre là, pas ça.
It is the same thing that happens to you.
Ou pas changer l'on pas de gagner du tout.
Don't you remember when you didn't have anything?
Et dans pied bon Dieu seulement te vle.
You were at the feet of, you wanted to stay at the feet of the Lord?
Ou dans tout causé.
You were in everything. You were involved in
Ou dans
everything.
jeûne, ou dans
You
réunion
were
prière,
fasting.
ou
You
dans
were
tout
praying.
service net.
You were in every service
Parce qu'on pas de gagner pour faire.
because you didn't have anything to do.
Ou pas de job, ou pas de
You
gagner.
didn't have a job. You had nothing.
Ou te grand bonne bagarre ou te vle bon Dieu faire pour.
You had a lot of things that you wanted God
Te
to do for
grand
you.
bon projet devant bon Dieu.
You had a lot of project in front of God.
Et pour te là,
You were here.
pour te servir bon Dieu.
You were serving God
Parce qu'on pas de le choix.
because you didn't have any choice.
Ou pas réaliser c'est les bon Dieu comment c'est faire bagaille yo.
Don't you realize when God started doing the things?
Ou pas réaliser c'est les bon Dieu fin bon travail.
Don't you realize it's after God's done giving you a job?
Ou pas réaliser c'est les bon Dieu Mario.
Don't you realize it's after God married you?
Ou pas réaliser c'est les bon Dieu bon petite.
Don't you realize after God gave you kids?
Ou pas réaliser c'est les bon Dieu bon carnet banque.
Don't you realize after God gave you a bank card?
Ou pas
bank
réaliser c'est
account?
les bon Dieu bon machine.
Don't you realize after God gave you a car?
Konye a,
No.
ou prend tout ça bon Dieu ba ou yo.
You take everything that God gave you.
Yo vinn devenir un idole pour.
Now they became an idol for you.
Konye a vinn gen tellement priorité.
Now you have so much priority.
Ou gen tellement bagay qui important pour.
You have so many things that are important to you.
Ou pas ka servir le même genre encore.
You can no longer serve God the same
Konye a
way.
tout bagay so gen yo,
Now that everything that you have,
yo vinn Dieu pour.
they became God for you.
C'est ça qui rive peuple là.
That is what happened to the people of Israel.
Puisque elle te gen là,
Because they have gold.
il dit Aaron font Dieu pour nous adorer.
They told Aaron to build a God for them to worship.
Aaron même qui pi mal passé yo,
And Aaron, that is worse than them,
il dit yo pote yo ba moi.
he said, "Bring me the gold."
Et puis il prend le fond, il font Veau D'Or.
He took the gold, he melted them, and
Et puis
he
il
built
dit
a God.
Israël mais bon Dieu.
He told Israel, "This is
Et
your
puis il pas
God."
honte non.
He had no
Il dit
shame.
mais mon Dieu chrétien en Égypte là.
He said, "This is the God that brought you up the land
Veau
of
D'Or
Egypt."
oui, c'est lui retiré en Égypte.
The golden calf is the one that took you out of Egypt.
Matin,
This morning,
ou pas fouti dit mon pas idolâtre.
you cannot tell me that you are not an adultery.
Tout bagay
Everything
ou remet passer bon Dieu.
you love more than God
Son idole lié.
is an idol for you.
Ça c'est cause
That is the reason
qui fouille peuple là dans idolâtrie ça.
that brought the people into idolatry.
Bon Dieu lui omniscient, omnipotent, omniprésent.
God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient.
Pendant bon Dieu en l'air avec Moïse,
While God is up there with Moses,
bon Dieu getan ouais tout ça peuple là fond
God
bas.
already saw everything that's happening down
Bon Dieu
there.
getan ouais toute cause qui passe en bas.
God already saw everything that was happening.
Soit appli Exode 32,
If you're reading Exodus
bon Dieu
32,
dit Moïse,
God tell Moses,
peuple font bagarre en bas là pas bon même.
the people are doing something down there
Moi
that is
fâché
not
contre
good.
eux, oui.
I'm going to be mad
M'a
at them.
exterminé oui.
I'm going to
M'a mettre du feu sur eux, oui.
I'll put
M'a
fire on them.
détruire oui.
I will
Mais fait
destroy
des
them.
en bas là, oui.
They'll be misbehaving down there.
Mais Moïse lui-même, il peut pas ouais ça bon Dieu parler.
But Moses, he cannot understand what God is
Au
talking
contraire,
about.
il est intervenu pour peuple là.
Instead, he intervened for them.
Il dit bon Dieu, pour qu'ils sortent en veut détruire un peuple pour fin béni.
He said, "God, why would you want to destroy your people?
Un peuple pour fin retirer dans l'esclavage.
People after you took them out of
On
slavery.
va le dire c'est pour te tirer ou même c'est pour te tirer, faut de faire ça.
People are going to say you wanted to take them out of Egypt just so you can kill them."
Où est ma bon Dieu?
Do you know what I love about God?
Écoutez Moïse.
He listened to Moses.
Il va faire ça là va le dire.
He didn't do what he was going to do.
Il quitte Moïse
He let Moses go
parce que faut Moïse descendre.
because Moses has to go down.
Qu'on y a Moïse gagne table la loi non mais
Now, when Moses is going down, he has the tablet of laws in his hand.
Li pral descend.
He's going down.
Ça veut dire cause là
That means the cause
qui fait au bâti Veau D'Or là
for them to build the adultery
parce que yo te gen moyen.
is because they had the way. They had
Gen
the
bagay ou
means.
fait jodi a.
There are things that you do today.
C'est parce qu'on gen moyen.
It's because you have the means.
Gen là ou te doit dans présence bon Dieu.
There are times you should be in the presence of God.
Ou dans vacances plutôt.
You in vacation
Et parce
instead.
qu'on gen moyen.
It's because you have the means.
Gen là bon Dieu te mande offrande.
There are times God asks you for an
Au
offering.
lieu te pas bon Dieu offrande là.
Oh, instead of giving God the
Ou
offering,
plutôt à l'acheter ton bagay ou gen déjà.
you rather put something that you already
Parce qu'on gen
have
moyen.
because you have the means.
Gen là bon Dieu mande
There
offrande.
are times God asks you for an offering.
Tant pour balil.
Instead of giving it
Ou
to
plutôt
him,
al mettre comme là non bagay nonsense.
you rather put the money in
Parce
something
qu'on gen moyen.
that's insignificant because
Ouais
you have the
tout ton
means.
gen moyen.
You see, all the time you have the
C'est tout
means.
ton cas idolâtre.
It's all because you
C'est tout ton vin orgueilleux. C'est tout ton sens
all
ou
the time
pas
you become
besoin mon Dieu.
prideful. Now you feel like you don't need God.
Gade moun lèl gen trop moyen nan men
There are some
prier.
people when they have too many means,
Même prier, il pas envie prier encore.
they even feel like they can no longer pray.
Gen moun ki pense sa force poyet yo.
There's some people they feel like it's by their own
travail
strength. They work hard.
Yo réussi.
They become something.
Yo pas croire c'est bon Dieu qui fait tout
They
bagay.
don't believe it's God that's done everything.
Les moun pa gen santé,
When they don't have health,
yo pas travail.
they don't work.
Fais expérience pour ouais.
Do that experience.
Malade pour ouais.
Be sick. Become
Après
sick.
2 semaines,
After 2 weeks,
yo révoque.
they will fire you.
Yo pas besoin kon sou gen bill pour payer.
They will let you go. They will
Yo
care if you
revoke
have
you,
a
mettons
bill.
l'autre monde.
They will let you go. They will put somebody else in your place.
Kon ya ou gon sel ti chante.
Now you have one song.
Christ pour moi.
Say, God is for me.
Christ pour
God
moi.
for me.
Depuis bagay la difficile,
When
Christ
things are
pour moi.
difficult, you call God.
Christ pour moi.
God
C'est comme
is
ça.
for me. That's
Et
how
ba la
it is.
belle nan mon,
When things are good for you,
pa gen sa pièce.
there's no God.
Ça c'est cause.
That is the
idolâtre.
cause of their adultery.
An nou move pou nou wè.
Let us go forward.
Deuxième point, hein,
The second
nous
cause,
parlons on backup verse. C'est là, on nous lit en français cette fois-ci.
let us preach in French.
On allait en français. On allait.
Exode 3,
Uh-huh. Mets bon volume, bon volume. Ça pour vous que
That
bon Dieu
proves
te
to you.
béni yo
that God blessed them
avant de déplacer.
before they left.
Et c'est possibilité ça
And is this possibility
qui pourra le cause au café Veau D'Or.
that's going to cause them to have the means to build that golden calf?
Je dis à m'le dire,
Today I want to tell you,
les bon Dieu dou li besoin 10 nan mon,
when God say I need tithe from you,
les bon Dieu dou li besoin 10% nan son touché,
when God say I need 10% of what you got,
chaque lot touché,
every time you get paid,
c'est parce qu'elle te baoul.
it's because he gave to you.
Ça veut dire si on touché $500
That means if you're getting paid $500
chaque semaine,
every week,
ça veut dire que $50 pas pour.
that means there's $50 that's not yours.
Mais ou gen doit trouver pas ka bay li.
But you can find that it's too hard to give
Parce qu'on gen trop bill,
because you have too many bills.
ou gen trop responsabilité.
You have too many responsibilities.
C'est peut-être ça la caille bon Dieu.
That is why at the house of the Lord,
Nous pas demander moun payer dim,
we don't ask people to pay their tithe
sou pas gon job.
if you don't have work, if you don't
For
have a
one
job.
job.
You have to have a job.
Ou faut gon job.
You have to have a job.
Mais sou gon job,
But if you have a job
ou pas faire,
and you don't do it,
m'pa cacher tout ça.
I'm not scared to tell you,
Ba la pas trop bon pour.
things won't be good for you.
C'est ça que fait.
That is why
L'on pas payer bon Dieu.
when you don't pay God,
L'on pas bail bon Dieu.
when you don't give to God,
Salmando.
what he asks you,
Ou toujours gon dépense pour faire.
there's always money for you to
Ou toujours
spend.
gon kop bois dépenser non bagay ou
You
pas
always have
espérer.
money to spend on things that mean nothing.
Toujours gon moun kapre lo Haïti.
There's always going to be somebody calling you from Haiti
Pour al font enterrement.
that has to do
On
with
bagay ki bat
funeral.
nan programme.
There's something that was not in your
L'on
plan.
gon plan te servon ti kop bois al font
But you had
bagay.
planned to save money to do something.
Yo re le dou matin tout mouri.
They call you and tell you on
Kon ya faut al dépenser comme ça
Now
quand
you have
même.
to spend that money
Parce que ou serré pour mon Dieu toi.
because you had too much for God.
Ça veut dire c'est raison ça.
That is the reason.
Première raison c'est parce que yo te gagné possibilité matérielle
The first reason was that they had the materialistic
pour yo te ka
possibility
bâti Veau d'Or.
for them to build the golden calf.
OK? Gen bagay ou fait c'est moyen gen.
There are things that you do is because you have the means to do it. You have the
Ou kon
possibility.
ça fait malgré closet ou pas gen côté pour le mettre rad.
Do you know why even though your closet has no more space for you to put clothes,
Ou acheter toujours
but you're still buying clothes?
parce qu'on gen comme.
It's because you have money.
Ou kon pour qui ça malgré pour compte ou gon maison sandal.
Do you know why even though you buy yourself,
On
you have a
seul
house
gen
full
moun
of,
ka gen
full of
30 à
shoes?
40 paires sandal.
One person can have 30 pairs of shoes.
2 pieds seulement gen.
You only have 2 feet.
La acheter toujours.
And you're still buying more shoes.
Moyen gen.
It's because you have the means.
C'est ça que fait l'église mando ou pas gen.
That is why when church asks of you, you say you don't
Ou
have.
toujours gon ba ou acheter online.
Because you always have something you're buying
Si boîte a
online.
tombé devant porte la ka ou sans
Boxes
arrêter.
are coming in front of your
Chaque
house
minute tu
every
déposes une
day.
petite boîte.
Every
Chaque
minute
seconde tu
there's little
déposes une
boxes
petite
for your
boîte.
house.
Petite boîte, petite boîte, petite
There's
boîte.
always
Et tout
boxes
c'est l'argent
piling
ou a
up.
dépenser
All
pour
that
bagarre
is
ou pas
money that
besoin.
you're spending for things that you don't need.
Pourquoi ça me connaît?
Do you know why I know this?
Moun yo ordre bagay là.
The people order the things.
Même ouvert ou pas ouvert boîte là.
They don't even open the box.
Ça veut dire pas de besoin de vrai.
That means they don't need it.
C'est moyen yo gen.
It's because they have the means.
Faut yo dépenser.
They have to spend.
La caille bon Dieu pas demande rien
In the house of the Lord shouldn't be missing anything.
parce que bon Dieu bénit nous pour ça.
Because God bless you for this.
Bon Dieu bénit nous pour ça.
God bless you for this.
L'église te doit gen moyen
The church should have the means
pour le payer toute dette li
to pay all his debt
et puis pour aider l'autre l'église qui pas
and to
capable.
help other churches that don't have the means.
Ça c'est première raison.
That is the first
Deuxième
reason.
raison,
The second one.
qu'on y a nous parler de déficience idolâtrie.
Now we're going to talk about the deficiency of their idolatry. Idolatry.
Ça veut dire sans faire,
That means what you did,
il pas veut dire rien.
it means nothing.
Ou qui ton bon Dieu vivant,
You left the living God,
un bon Dieu qui a parlé,
a God that can speak,
un bon Dieu qui a déplacé,
a God that can move,
un bon Dieu qui c'est Dieu sur toutes les dieux,
a God that is a God over all
un bon
gods,
Dieu qui c'est roi des rois,
a God that is King of kings,
un bon Dieu qui retire en Égypte à main
a
forte
God
et à bras
that took
étendus,
you out of the land of Egypt,
un Dieu qui a tout pouvoir,
a God that has all powers.
qu'on y a pour quitter mon Dieu ça,
Now you left this
ou
God
pour le fond idole,
and you're going to build an
qui pas
idol
ouais,
that can't
qui
see,
pas parler,
that can't
qui
speak,
pas marcher,
that can't walk.
et chaque période là,
And what's worse,
c'est où fait.
you build it.
Ça veut dire l'on refusé
That means when
servir
you
mon Dieu,
refuse to serve
ou
God,
fond mon Dieu pour servir.
you create a God to
L'on
serve.
refusé servir mon
When you
Dieu,
refuse to
ou
serve
pas le
God,
fond mon Dieu pour
you're
servir.
going to create a God
Ou
for you
pas
to
le faire
serve.
propre Dieu par.
You're going to create
Et
your
bien
own God.
déficience qui parle dans Dieu
The
ça,
deficiency that God
Dieu
is
ça pas
God.
ouais,
This God
il
can't
pas
see,
marcher,
can't walk,
il pas parler,
he can't
il
speak.
pas de pouvoir.
He has no power.
C'est ça que fait.
That is why
Les Moïse paraît.
when Moses came down,
Josué qui t'a dit, Moses, on brille là, tant qu'on sont la guerre, oui. On révolte
Joshua
encore.
said there's this noise of war in the
Moses dit
camp.
non, moi, il semble c'est de mon cap chanter.
Moses said no, it is a sound of shouting of victory.
Où est Moïse qui était en l'air, qui
You
t'a
see
demandé
that
mon Dieu
Moses that
pardon pour le peuple là?
was on the top of the mountain that was asking
Là,
forgiveness for
Moïse
the people.
descend.
When Moses came down,
Li ouais, nèg qui te fait Veau d'Or et puis a pas adoré.
he saw the golden calf and he saw that they
Le
were
peuple
worshiping
a
it.
dansé.
The people were dancing at it.
Li content.
They were happy.
Qu'on y a le bon l'autre Dieu.
Now they have a different God.
Li gon faux Dieu.
They have a fake God.
Li gon idole.
They have an idol.
Mes amis, Veau d'Or a été retiré en Égypte.
I tell you, this
Aaron ba yo
golden calf could
menti.
not come
Aaron
out.
dit yo mais
Aaron
Dieu
lied
retiré
to
en
them.
Égypte là. Eh bien là Moïse descend, Moïse fâché.
And when Moses came down, he
Ouais,
was
c'est lui qui a
mad.
demandé mon Dieu pardon pour yo.
And he was asking God for
Qu'on y a
forgiveness
Moïse
for them.
fâché sur le peuple là.
Now Moses is mad at the people.
On va montrer déficience là.
I'm going to show you the deficiency.
Moïse crase Veau d'Or.
Moses broke the golden calf.
On Dieu,
A God.
Moïse crase.
Moses broke it.
Ou pas dans l'église. Dieu peuple a pas adoré, il prend tout bien mon Dieu bali.
The God that the people were worshiping,
Moïse crase.
Moses broke it.
Ou pourquoi ouais moun qui mettait tout bien au non kay?
Haven't seen you see people that
Ouais,
put all
investi
their
toute l'argent
goods in the
non
house
kay.
and then you spend all your money in the
Ou paye
house.
mortgage
You
chaque mois.
invest, you paying your mortgage
On
every
bon
month.
dit fait bon kay là.
And then one day fire took the place.
Ou bien cyclone passé, il crase tout bagay.
Or water invaded.
Et si c'est pas de grâce pour courir sur tout t'a mourir là dedans
And
tout.
if it wasn't by grace that you run out, you would have died also.
Moïse prend faux Veau d'Or al crase.
Moses took the fake golden God, he broke it.
Premier déficience c'est que on dit sous ces Dieu pas craser.
The first thing is that if you are God, they can't break you.
C'est ça que fait moi-même c'est seul bon Dieu dans ciel là pour me servir.
That is why I only serve the God that
Moun
is
qui
in
ka
heaven.
craser là fait moi.
If a person can break it, let
Moun
me
qui
show
ka
you.
lever
Let me
fois
show
par terre
you.
fait moi.
The people that can pick it up
Put that
and break
bon Dieu
it, let me
dans
see
là.
you.
Moun ki
My
ka
God
krasé la
made his
fè moi.
soul. The people that can break it, I want to see you.
Moïse krasé,
Moses broke it.
li met 10 fè sou li.
He put fire on it.
Ouais, tout ça, ou krasé bon Dieu, ou met 10 fè sou Dieu. Ou krasé Dieu, ou met 10 fè sou li.
He broke it and he put fire on that God.
Dieu ça va camper sur rien.
That God is not, he's
Quand y
useless.
a ça Moïse va le faire qui pi red.
What else Moses is going to do that's even
Les
worse?
fin boule li,
After he's done burning
li
it,
prend son nan.
he took the powder.
Li dit peuple am bral faut boire Dieu.
He made the people drink their God.
Yeah, li mette son nan de l'eau dit boire.
He put the powder and the water and he made the
M'a
people
fait nous
drink it.
respecter moun.
He's going to make you respect God.
Non seulement m'craser li,
Not only I broke it,
met 10 fè sou li,
I burned it with
prend
fire
poussière,
and I ground it into
m'la gel nan
powder
de l'eau,
and scattered it
il
in the
faut boire de l'eau.
water and made you drink
Ça veut
it.
dire l'eau boire de l'eau.
That means when you're drinking that
Ou pas
water,
comprendre.
you would understand.
M'craser Dieu.
I break your God.
M'boule Dieu.
I burn your God.
M'prend son Dieu.
I take the powder
M'fò boire Dieu.
and make you drink
Et
your
même
God.
ça passe, il pas
And
camper
this is
sur
what
rien.
happened. Your God is
Li
useless.
pas camper sur
Your God is
rien.
useless.
Et c'est qu'on y a,
And that's when
peuple a un gros problème.
the people are in trouble.
Bon Dieu pas oublier.
God won't forget you.
Bon Dieu va frapper peuple ça.
God is going to touch them.
L'on
He's going to
continue,
hit them.
l'on continue li reste livre là ou après.
If you
Souffrance
finish reading the scripture, you will
peuple ça après
find
endurer
out the type of suffering
pour
that
être
they will,
seul reste à le commettre là.
because of what they
Parce
did,
que Moïse,
you're going to see the
Aaron dit Moïse,
sufferings.
peuple a commettre un péché grave.
God told Moses that the people committed a
Pour
great
peuple a
sin
rivé li idolâtre.
for them to become idolatries.
Ça veut dire que Dieu a quel que soit bagaille ou ta bail valeur parce que mon Dieu
No
il
matter what
déficient.
thing you would give more value than God
Il
is
déficient.
deficient
Parce que li pas ka sauver ou l'on a
because it cannot save you when you're in trouble.
l'on a mouri
When you're dying,
ou pas aller les mains vides.
you go in empty-handed.
Mort pas besoin rien.
Their body don't need anything.
Même si on met là-dessous on pas besoin.
Even though you see that they put clothes on you after you die, they're only messing with you.
On va connaître soit habillé.
You don't know if you're dressed.
Ou aller les mains vides.
You go empty-handed.
Ou t'es venu les mains vides
You came empty-handed.
ou pas aller les mains vides.
You're leaving empty-handed.
C'est comme ça bon Dieu fait.
That's how God made it.
Peuple a fait une grosse erreur.
The people made a big mistake.
Il prend bénédiction bon Dieu,
They took God's blessing,
il font ni,
they melted,
ils font Dieu pour l'adorer.
and they built a God for them to worship.
Ça son honte.
That is ashamed.
Après côté bon Dieu sur le peuple là.
After what God came, where they came from, what God did for them.
Explique ça bon Dieu fait pour peuple là.
I explained to you what God did for
Ou
them.
même tout chaque regard dans la vie ou
You, even every time you look into your life,
ou côté bon Dieu prend.
for you to see where God took you from,
Route li favor.
the ways that He made for you,
Cool paré pour
the fight that He stopped for you,
aujourd'hui
for today,
ou pas ta gain temps pour lui
for you to not have time for Him,
à cause de priorité la vie
because you have priorities in this life.
monte pour
I am ashamed for you.
ou pas différent des peuples ça.
You're not different from these people.
Troisième bagaille,
The third thing
c'est résultat idolâtrie.
is the result of their idolatry.
Ouais moun qui idolâtre,
You see, the people that are idolatry
c'est plus gros bataille ou engage.
is the biggest fight of your life
Parce que bon Dieu pas d'accord.
because God will not be happy with this.
Ou gen pour un jour,
There will be a day
ou pour get toute bagaille sur la terre.
you will see that you possess everything on this earth,
Et puis qu'on y a santo qui va aller.
and now it's your health that's going away.
Bah qui était plus important qu'on gagne l'argent pour acheter assez
The
libre.
thing that was more important that money didn't buy
Ou
is
pour
what's
get
leaving you.
toute bagaille sur la terre,
You
tout
will see
ça
that
on
you
te besoin
possess
net.
everything on this earth,
Qu'on y a santo bagaille.
and now you're
Ou
unhealthy.
get toute qualité maladie.
You have all type of
L'oral
disease.
caille docteur,
When you go to the doctor,
son liste yo ba ou.
they give you a list.
Ou fait sucre,
You have diabetes.
ou fait tension,
You have
ou
hypertension.
fait cholestérol,
You have high
yo
cholesterol.
a cancer,
They see cancer.
yo a problème dans le cerveau,
They see you have.
yo a problème dans le kidney.
They
Ça
see
veut
kidney
dire ou vient
problems.
en
They
liste
see
maladie.
everything. You become a list of
Docteur pas
disease.
connait qui boit pour le maillon.
Doctor don't know what to do for you,
Mon get toute bagaille.
but you have everything,
Je dis au couche en côté.
and now you laying somewhere.
Ou connait combien de monde qui couche?
Do you know how many people are laying down?
Yo t'a amené lever un grand jour.
They want to get up for one day
Pour y aller jouir ça gain.
to go enjoy what they possess.
Et yo pas capable.
They can't.
Résultat là,
The result here,
bon Dieu fâché.
God was mad.
Il dit m'pral frapper Israël.
He said, "I'm going to."
Ah, le bon Dieu dit la frappe,
Israel. When God said, "I'm going to put my hand on you,"
Ou gen pour passer misère.
you will suffer.
Et là li texte là,
And when you
Dans
read the
Exode 32,
scripture
30 à 35, même si
in
nous parlons
Exodus
de dans
32,
l'île
30 to
Lakaïno,
35, you could read it at
bon
home.
Dieu dit, m'a frappé nation
God
par
said,
toutes sortes de malédictions parce que peuple ça désobéit.
God said, I will touch the people in every kind of way
Peuple
because
ça
they were
ingrat.
disobedient. They are hypocrites.
Peuple ça courette.
They are stiff-necked.
Pour moi, peuple ça
For me to see these
préféré
people
faux d'or pour servir dans place moi.
to build a fake God to serve instead of me.
Après tout ça me fait pour eux.
After everything I've done for them.
Je dis
Today,
ni ou même
you
à tout ça posséder.
and everything that you possess,
C'est pour bon Dieu.
they are for God.
Vous entendez ça m'do?
Do you hear what I'm
Ni
saying?
ou même
You
ni tout ça
and
posséder.
everything that you possess,
C'est pour bon Dieu.
they are for God.
Autant obéissant.
All the time you are obedient
N'en mettez bien.
and give your goods, your blessings.
Autant que obéissant.
All the time you are obedient
N'en utilisez bien
and using your blessing
pour servir bon Dieu
to
avec.
serve the Lord with
C'est plus béni ou béni.
is more that you are being blessed.
Parce que bon Dieu dit comme ça.
Because God says
Il y a plus bénédiction
there is more blessing
dans monde qui bail
in people that
que
give
monde qui recevoir.
than people that'll take that'll
Je
receive
dis,
it. Today,
Bon Dieu cherche un Chanel.
God is looking.
Bon Dieu cherche un Chanel, on cherche un cœur, on
Is
cherche un
looking for a
place
heart. Is looking for a place
pour le mettre ressources li,
to put his resources,
pour le mettre bien li,
to put his blessings,
pour le mettre tout ça dans le ciel là.
to put everything that he has in
Bon
heaven.
Dieu cherche un monde
God is looking for a
quelqu'un
place,
qui fait confiance
a person that he can
Pour le
he put
bénir,
his,
pour le
put his
bénir, pour le
blessings
bénir,
to
pour le bénir.
bless, to continue to bless.
parce que c'est où le pour le relais.
Because he's going to call you.
Chaque là le besoin bagaille,
Every time he needs
c'est
something,
où le pour le
he's going
relais.
to call you.
Chaque là le besoin si un chèque,
Every time he wants to sign a
c'est où le pour le
check,
relais.
he's going to call you.
Bon Dieu besoin un monde
But God needs someone
qui obéissant,
that is obedient
que le ca mette toute richesse
for
là
him to
haut,
put all his riches
tout
in it,
bien là haut.
all his good, all his
Il
blessings.
besoin un monde
He needs one
qui
person
va manquer le parole,
that won't miss his
Li besoin un
word.
monde
He need one person
qui va prendre toute richesse yo
that won't take all his good
pour la faire Veau D'Or avec.
to build a golden
Li
calf.
besoin un monde
He need one
qui
person
connaît
that will know
ni la terre,
that
ni
the
le
earth
monde.
and the world,
tout ça que la donne.
everything that's in it,
C'est pour bon Dieu.
is for God.
Somme 24 premier. Pour l'Éternel,
Verse 24, Psalm 24 first.
verset 1. Somme 24 verset 1 l'église.
Psalm 24, verse 1.
L'église nous va contre Somme 24 verset 1 toujours. Ou croyez dans ça?
Do you believe in this?
Est-ce qu'on croit dans la parole ça?
Do you believe in this? That
Dis-le encore pour me demander.
the earth in the Lord and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell in it are for him.
Je believe là-dedans.
I believe in this.
Vous savez que je crois là-dedans?
Do you know why I believe in this?
Jean bon Dieu entré sur Égyptien.
Because the way God went to the Egyptians,
Il neutralise eux.
he neutralized them.
Et puis il quitte Israël dépouillé.
And then he let Israel plunder them.
Vous savez comprendre par là?
Do you know what I understand by this?
À l'Éternel,
To God,
la terre,
the earth
et ce qu'elle renferme.
and the fullness,
Le monde
the world
et ce qu'il habite.
and those dwell in it.
Le bon Dieu a ouvert porte pour
When God is opening doors for you,
a un monde qui a bloqué.
no one can block you.
Le bon Dieu d'autant
When God tell you to wait,
pour mettre temps.
you have to wait.
Le bon Dieu pas moun li va demander faveur.
Because God is not going to ask people for favor.
Tout bagaille sur la terre,
Because everything on the earth
c'est pour bon Dieu.
belongs to him.
Je dis à me servir bon Dieu.
Today I'm telling you, serve God
À tout soyez,
with everything that you are
à tout ça posséder.
and everything that you possess.
Je dis à me servir bon Dieu.
Today I'm telling you, serve God,
À tout soyez,
everything that you are
à tout ça
and
posséder.
everything that you possess.
Que bon Dieu bénisse.
May God bless you.
Dans 2 minutes, nous mettons stop vidéo. Dans 2 minutes, nous avons un témoignage pour nous.
In 2 minutes, I'm going to give a testimony.